Let's start this off acknowledging the obvious. Trey Savage, you tip your cap, and I don't mean tip my cap as in there's nothing we could have done, because clearly, if you watch tonight's game, there was. Trey Savage dominated the Yankees top to bottom. Everyone was dominated outside of Jazz Chisholm. He was the lone bright spot. Jake, we just didn't do anything all night. Savage was locating. He had a game plan. Heater up, slider down. Every once in a while, he'd show you, I could throw the breaking ball for a strike. So you can't just sit on fastballs up and take away my game plan. He had a counter to that. It was like tonight watching Savage versus Yankees hitters and whoever. It didn't even matter who it was outside of Jazz. It was like watching a boxer just get knocked out in the first round, and then you're just waiting for him to get up, and they're just they never even lean to get up. It was just a full-blown TKO. It was just embarrassing, really. For the offense, poor swing decisions, just my takeaway personally. Poor takes. Given certain situations, you need to get a ball in play. You need to get a guy over. You need to find a way to get on base and manage to not chase pitches outside the zone. The Yankees found the perfect time when not to swing, and the times where you're like, oh, they definitely shouldn't swing there, they swung. And just overall, way too many at-bats given away by names alone, Jake. Ryan McMahon, Anthony Volpe, and Austin Wells are 7, 8, 9. It's been a huge topic of concern. Not necessarily those names per se, and some of them for sure. But that area of the lineup, Jake, we kind of talked about it. We're like, oh yeah, Grisham needs to be in that area because that group needs help, especially what's going on at shortstop with the injuries. And you look up and they were 0 for 9, did absolutely nothing, 4 strikeouts. Aaron Judge, Jake, you were just talking about him off air, 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. I'm sorry, you can't go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts in a game against Toronto of all teams. Just unacceptable timing on his part. And this is a great player, someone that we're really high on, but I really don't even have to preface that statement. Does it need to be said by me, a podcast host, that Aaron Judge can't go 0 for 4 in that game? Really disappointing. Yankees hitters struck out 11 times tonight, managed to walk as much as anyone listening tonight. They were 6 for 33, Jake. Overall at the plate, you just can't win games like that. And if the Yankees are going to be contenders, you have to put together better at-bats against the game's best. It's literally required. 2-1 loss. I thought Cam Schlittler was awesome. Post-game, he really deflected the blame towards himself, which you knew he was going to do, but he couldn't be more wrong, I guess, in theory here, Jake, because reality was he had to be perfect. The Jays decided we're going to play small ball, and the Yankees had a ton of pressure on them to make the plays, and there was a miscommunication with Austin Wells and Paul Goldschmidt. Go figure, Austin Wells, the most useless player on the field, has a miscommunication. There's a lot of pressure on the Yankees to be perfect defensively, and when you put the ball in play and make defenses work when they know they can't make a mistake, they usually make mistakes. That was the Yankees tonight. And that's something we've seen, Jake, over the years. The Yankees having to be perfect defensively or on the base pass, and they make mistakes because they know they can't afford to make them, right? And you said it was a tease, right? Varland got in the game late. We've hit him traditionally, and they did. They got on him. We'll talk about what that looked like. And of course, we're discussing the title about Yvanni Cruz. Hilariously, Jake, he looked like one of our better arms. It feels like we've got 2 or 3 arms that we really even trust right now. I don't even understand how there's an argument that he's not a part of this group now for the long haul, at least given what we have in our bullpen. But we'll talk about, a struggling David Bednar and whether or not Cruz can actually replace him and throw Bednar into the setup role, which a lot of our audience has really clamored for. We're also talking Austin Wells. He probably, Jake, deserves a chat. How do I put this nicely? I don't want to say he sucks. I don't want to say he's useless. I'll say he's a mannequin at the dish. He's low IQ at bat with very little talent. And I believe these are the results that really come from that. And then, of course, the news of Trent Grisham. If you guys watch this game, he leaves the game with a banged up. Jake, you called it pre-show, and the diagnosis was a sore left knee that we're going to get an update on tomorrow. So it seems like Spencer Jones is going to play every day. And lastly, we'll touch on one of Jake's little projects here that he wants to consider in Hunter Goodman and see if the Yankees could potentially pursue him. I'm Gary Sheffield Jr. That is Jake Ellenbogen with the great trade ideas. This is Yankees Unloaded. Be sure to hype the video below in the comments below. Jake, let's start with Yvanni Cruz. We'll get to the at-bats really quickly here, but I feel like we should start it with the bright spot first and get some positivity out there, because there was a bright spot. You had to search for it all night. We had to wait after a 2-hour rain delay. Is there a case right now for Yvanni Cruz to almost be massaged into the closer's role where David Bednar can almost take a lesser role? Would you consider it, or do you slow our roll here considering he's a young player?
Oh, I don't give a damn if he's a young player. He's been in the minor leagues for 8 years. I think he's already probably the best bullpen guy that they have. And I would just, for anybody that wants to push back and say it's too soon, he just went 2 innings and had 3 strikeouts and did not give up a hit against the Blue Jays, okay? He had Ernie Clement, like his knees buckled at that slider. He was like, I don't even know what to do with that. Ernie Clement, like the superhero that we just saw in the playoffs, okay? That Ernie Clement. These guys have been getting hits off Schlittler. These guys have been muscling these base hits. He was dominant, okay? Cruz, I know what we have in Cruz. He's got a fastball that can touch 102, and then he's going to hit you back with that slider, and that slider's got some bite to it. Nasty. So the reality is he doesn't need this giant repertoire of pitches. He's got 2 pitches. He can mix up the locations. I don't know what took them so long. I mean, we're sitting here in the 50th game of the year, and they finally let him pitch. And I should be excited. I should be freaking out, jumping for joy that the guy that you and I have both vocalized multiple times. By the way, welcome to Yankees Unloaded. We talked about this guy at the very beginning of the season before really 5 games into the season. We were talking about this is somebody that probably should have made the roster, right? This is why. I don't know. It honestly makes me question the higher-ups. How you watch that tonight, well, he was doing that in the minors. He's shown this ability. And now he goes up there, and it's like it's the exact same thing we've seen in those AAA highlights. And now it took game 50 to see this, when the bullpen is just giving Jake Bird every single piece of, oh, okay, yeah, it's okay. You can struggle. We're still going to keep you in the bullpen. They have given him chance after chance after chance, but we couldn't give Yvanni Cruz a chance until game 50. I'm going to be happy that he's here. He had 13 strikes and 15 pitches, Gary. I was also told, well, he has a hard time with location. He's all over the strike zone. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He knew exactly where he wanted to deliver it. And then, oh, by the way, shout out to Aaron Boone for putting him out there to pitch a 2nd inning. I thought he was the best part of this game. And the reason why I say it's not too soon is because didn't we know, Gary, we knew when we saw Cam Schlittler, that guy's different. He's just different. We've seen guys have nice debuts, right? I'm not talking about he's going to be a nice piece. Yvanni Cruz is the whole damn puzzle, okay? He is how you solve your woes in the closer role. David Bednar to the 8th, I think, takes the pressure off him, probably maximizes his value, but we talk about wanting to miss bats. We talk about wanting to have that velocity. Well, hate to break it to you, but if you don't like Yvanni Cruz, I don't know what else to say. The dude is literally like watching Camilo Doval with control.
Can I ask you a quick question? How old is Yvanni Cruz? Can everyone remind me?
He's 26, I believe.
He's 26 years old. So I just want to bring up one factor to the age. If Yvanni Cruz was 20, I'd slow my roll here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, I've long been saying I think age is a little overrated in sports. 20, 21, 22 years old. Guys have shown Juan Soto, right? Bryce Harper. Guys can do that at the highest level, even at that age, right? That just happens in the sport. It sounds crazy, but it's reality. And I don't know if we should really read into so much the age, but if we are, like if you're one of those people who says, oh, we can't give the kid the role, he's not a kid, he's a grown man. He's off his parents' insurance. He's 26. He's quite literally he's not a kid in any way. This isn't even a young baseball player. And keep this in mind, Spencer Jones gets called up just a few weeks ago, and people are like, oh, he's old. He's old. And of course, they're not calling a 25-year-old old. But what they are saying is that this is not a traditional prospect that's 20 years old. He's just not. This is a guy who took the long way into getting up to the big leagues. And when you're taking a look at what he's doing, I think at this point, when you're talking about the closer, and we'll just remove Cruz out of this, you need a guy that features a fastball at the closer's role. I don't believe that David Bednar is a guy anymore, given his pitch mix that we talked about 2 days ago. And Jake, thank you for filling in, of course. You cannot feature a splitter or a breaking ball being a closer for a contender. It just can't happen. You have to be able to throw strike one. David Bednar's proven this year he can't do that. Why? He doesn't trust his fastball. And if you're not going to trust your fastball because it's not your best pitch, I'm going to put someone in your position who can. And that guy right now isn't just Yvanni Cruz in a 1-game sample size throwing 2 innings. It was also down in the minor leagues what he was doing down there. He was showing us a closer in spring training. He was showing it to us down in AA and AAA. He was showing this to us now for a long time. We know what he trusts and what he doesn't. You can also look at it, Jake, as Cruz, who's already in our bullpen, and you say, oh, what pitch does he trust? You don't need me to tell you. It's his splitter. He's trying to get to it. He'll surprise you with his fastball. I can't trust you as my closer. Tim Hill, not enough gas. Not able to miss bats at the clip a closer needs to. He's effective, but just because you're effective, you can't be my closer. Yvanni Cruz is the Yankees closer. I don't think Aaron Boone needs to overthink this, but I would imagine this, Jake, is probably going to take more struggles from David Bednar to happen. And I guess the good news here, last thing I'll say, is that Yvanni Cruz even joining the group makes us that much better. He just does, full stop, and he's going to help Bednar. He's going to help the entire group, helps Aaron Boone, who loves to go to his bullpen. But man, I don't see how you can look at a guy throwing 102, 103 miles an hour and say, I want the guy throwing 96 who features his splitter, who pitched well in Pittsburgh. I don't get it.
Well, and like Ed W brought up, first pitch curveball, curves. It's easy to hang curveballs.
It is.
And you're telling me his go-to on that first pitch is a curveball. I mean, there you go, right? And I understand the rebuttal here for people would be like, well, having that much velocity, it's the Emmanuel Clase effect against Anthony Volpe. Volpe just had to stick his bat out against Emmanuel Clase 2 years ago, and that thing was 103 off the bat. And I get that. But also, you have to keep in mind, when you're able to mix locations the way Cruz showed us just tonight and has showed us, in AAA and in spring training, it's not like he's just pitching right to the bat. And it's also not like, I don't think that's a sustainable way of looking at it, to be like, yeah, if you throw 103, they're going to hit it 105 off the bat. It's like, they also have to make contact. It's not easy to make contact with the 103. Okay.
I don't think guys that throw harder give up harder contact. I don't really think that that's the case. I don't really, guys, I'm going to put it like this. When was the last time folks were talking about, oh, Mason Miller, he throws 104. He's got the hardest fastball in the game. When was the last time anyone on MLB Network, on TBS, on Fox, on Amazon, on Apple, ever said anything about, oh yeah, he stuck his bat out there and it did the rest of the work? No one ever says that. We just pick and choose when we say, oh, velocity is going to help the hitter. Doesn't for the game's best. It just doesn't. It objectively speaking, guys aren't throwing 105, 102, 101. Like, we don't light up when we see it for our health. It doesn't make it any easier to stay healthy. Like, you think you're looking at what's going on in Milwaukee with their ace, and they're like, oh yeah, he just throws 104 just because he likes to. No, he does it because you have less time to make a decision. It's just simple math. And so when you look at what a closer is, you want to have wipeout stuff. And a lot of times it's just simple saying, what is wipeout? Wipeout could look like 100+ mile an hour fastball with location. and movement, and a nasty breaking ball, which Jake, you just touched on. When you see a hitter that's a contact bat buckling on a breaking ball, you need to sometimes read the swings and read the takes and say who's nasty and who's not. Sometimes it goes beyond the radar gun. We look at Doval. Does he have nasty stuff? Not really. We see comfortable swings. 101 mile an hour fastball, comfortable swings. But you see Cruz tonight, you see guys late on his fastball and jumping out of the batter's box on his breaking ball. That's the type of swing and the type of approach I want from a closer. And I see people in the comments saying, Gary, you're not likely to get this. I'm not saying this for what's likely. I'm saying this for what should be. And we're offering, Jake, what we always say we're going to offer on this show, which is a solution that when we get it, we can be happy. So that's what I'm calling for now.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely fair. I have the numbers here, by the way. 8 four-seam fastballs, 7 sliders, and he generated 22% whiff rate. 2 of those came on the slider, and the four-seam, you were seeing a lot of, fouls and whatnot, or they just took the pitch entirely. But that slider is going to be that pitch that kind of separates him, because I think he's got 2 really, really good pitches. And he can develop a third if, they decide. But I think this is good enough, Gary. We overthink pitching way too much, especially with all the analytics out there. And now because of the StatCaster, every single pitch is charted. I don't think he needs 3-4 pitches. I think he's fine with these 2. And he'll make a decision. This is his first time in the major leagues. This is an 8-year journey for him. So congratulations to Yvanni Cruz. But on top of that, it's let him learn. Okay, if I need another thing, then I'll learn another thing. I mean, we've already seen Will Warren's been working on some new stuff. Clark Schmidt was working on new stuff. You can do that. You can cater. You can kind of tinker around, during your career in the off season, in spring training. That's what that's for. But for the time being, Gary, this is absolutely good enough stuff to essentially make the argument he should be the closer. And I understand it sounds knee-jerk reaction, but here's the thing. It's not. Because guess what, Gary? Before I even saw this guy pitch in the major leagues, I was saying he should be the closer before that. So
you did say this a while ago. Yeah.
I just think we got to be honest with ourselves. See, other sports don't have a minor league system like this. The NHL does. They do. But I think the MLB gets caught in this trap where it's they want these guys to be almost perfect before they call them up. That's not realistic. You have to let guys
as well.
Yeah, you have to let guys fail and learn, right? And I say it all the time because Yvanni Cruz is 26, okay? Mm-hmm. And he's going to be 27 later this year. But you look at the other Cruz in that bullpen, and you see he's 35, and it kind of reminds you that this is a position where, you can pitch for a long freaking time, and you can have, I think it's very safe to say Fernando Cruz is reaching maybe the potential he never knew he had before. He's actually the best version of himself with the New York Yankees 2 years running. And he's 35, 36 years old, Gary. So Cruz here at 26, already showing this, a lot of experience. I honestly think he should have been brought up a while ago. And that goes beyond just the Yankees. He spent some time with the Red Sox organization and the Padres. He's been around.
It's honestly crazy that it's how you almost wonder how you got here and where was this velocity and where was this stuff before. But Jake, couldn't you also make the argument when some people say, well, in order to be the closer, or in order for us to give you all the runway that you're talking about. And I understand for people who want to be timid with that. I get it.
Of course.
What's his best pitch again, Jake? Can you remind me?
Well, it's the four-seam fastball.
It's the four-seam fastball. Why do we all of a sudden start implying that adding a pitch makes a pitcher better? Let's use Cam Schlittler, a man who dominated today. Completely dominated, by the way. And people are going to forget about it because we lost. But Cam Schlittler conveniently became a better pitcher when he started going away from the slider completely. Eliminated the pitch. Got rid of it. Now he's a sinker, four-seamer, cutter guy with an occasional curveball. Occasional. You get the pitch mixes are all there online. It's not an analytic. It's just simple pitch mix. And the choice that he's making with pitches, Does Cam Schlittler become a better pitcher if he adds a ghost fork? No. That's Little League stuff. That, Jake, we laugh about that off
We
air.
talk about that all the time. That kid is like, I could throw a knuckleball because my drunk uncle showed me one time.
Son, show him the curve, show him the slider, show him the knuckleball, show him the ephus. Remember that pitch? The ephus. We're gonna do that. It doesn't naturally just make you a better baseball player because you throw more pitches. In a lot of ways, it makes you worse. Right? All of a sudden, you look at a pitcher going from Miami to Philadelphia. Oh, the change is we're gonna work that ghost changeup, and that pitch unlocks something. But every organization just makes the assumption, oh, look at this, Yvanni Cruz, the 26-year-old phenom, stuff-wise. Oh, he's gonna come into the big leagues. He's got a four-seam fastball to dream of, nasty slider that's buckling hitters. Wait till we add the changeup. I'm like, who cares about the changeup? His role is going to be in the bullpen. He doesn't need a third or fourth pitch. He just doesn't. If he was a starter and we're going reverse Mason Miller or Michael King in a starter role, yeah, of course he needs a third pitch. Jake, we were clamoring for Carlos Rodon to add a changeup and add that cutter, another dimension that's not just a two-pitch guy. That was because he was a starting pitcher and had to see guys 3 or 4 times through.
Exactly,
Cruz doesn't have that problem, man.
That was a big issue with Clark Schmidt, by the way.
It was an issue.
I brought that up, and then we started to really notice it.
Yes.
Clark Schmidt could not get through the third time through the order.
No, he couldn't.
And then all of a sudden, he started having success and looked really, really good.
Yep.
And so it's one of those things where, like, if you're a starting pitcher and to your point, I have to see, all of these hitters, I have to see them 3 times through the order. I need to use different pitches. I can't be predictable. But in the bullpen, I'm seeing these guys once. Like, Cruz wasn't going to see every single batter today. He just wasn't. We actually we saw Cruz pitch the first inning, and immediately I'm like, I'm hoping they throw him in the, another inning there, but I don't think he's going to pitch another inning, right? I was hoping he would.
I didn't think he was coming out the ninth, no.
And by the way, I just give Boone a ton of credit for that, because that right there, actions speak louder than words. The same people that have been saying, Boone just seems to take the bat out of Spencer Jones' hands, even in positions where he's going up against a righty. Like, he doesn't trust him yet. That's fine, by the way. I don't have an issue with that. But here's the deal. He trusts Cruz. This was a 2-0 ball game, and he said, go out and pitch the second inning. That should tell you everything. Go out and pitch 2 innings when you've never pitched in the major leagues before. We loved your stuff that much. Go out and show them.
I was going to say the stuff probably helps the trust factor. It's not like he put a blindfold on and said, oh, it was scoreless. He's sitting in the dugout watching. He has a better view than you and I.
Yeah.
And he's watching what it looks like coming out of his hand. And he's saying, oh, I can see the same swings. I can see what the takes look like. That guy is an easy choice to go out there. I thought Boone made the obvious decision, which for managers in baseball with all the analytics, sometimes they go way far away from what's obvious. So we want to make sure Boone gets credit for that. J Tank with the super and the 2. Thank you for supporting the channel. Greatly appreciated. Says they'll send Cruz down before giving him a shot. That's actually not common for the Yankees. Anytime we find a guy we can really go to out the bullpen, it almost feels like Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman, their biggest priority is finding guys they can trust to just milk during the regular season. So if anyone's going to get the call up and then just be milked and sent back down, it's probably Spencer Jones, right? Given position player, surplus of outfielders per se, they so think, he's the more likely candidate to be sent down when guys are healthy. Jason Dominguez, right? Giancarlo Stanton. Whereas in this situation, J-Tank, Cruz, I think they're going to rely on. I think he's just going to very quickly, whether he's going to be the closer or not, he's going to be one of those names where you're like, all right, here it comes. Tim Hill, Cruz, Bednar, Doval. Oh, right? It's going to be that, guys. That's what we're looking at. And I think if we're honest here, more than likely what Aaron Boone's going to do here, if I had to make a guess, he's going to try and say, Camilo Doval, enter in Yvanni Cruz. I think Yvanni Cruz is going to take that Doval role, and I don't think Doval will ever see it again. I think before you know it, Doval is going to be pitching in the 6th.
Yeah. I think it's certainly possible. James says, guy makes his debut after 8 years, and you guys want to make him closer on day one and ship Bednar. Just wild. I just wanted to address this because I never said to ship Bednar. I'm not.
Oh, did we say to trade him?
Gone. I don't know if you ever said you wanted to make him closer day one, so I don't want that going like words.
No,
being
I
put in
said
your
I
mouth.
wanted Cruz. I think maybe 3-4 weeks ago, I said I wanted him as our setup man. This is before Bednar's struggles, but neither one of us said that Doval would be shipped. So obviously, this is
Bednar.
Very much of a Bednar. None of us wanted Bednar shipped. Not one of us.
Yeah. No, none of us said Bednar.
It's a projection that has nothing to do with reality.
And then James said, and I'm not saying not give Cruz his shot. He could be huge, but Bednar has been struggling for a week or so, and this team is far better if he can figure it out. I'm not disagreeing with you that the team's far better if he can figure it out, but I don't see how the team's better with him in the closer role over what Cruz can do. Like if Cruz ends up working out, say they both work out and you get the best of Bednar and the best of Cruz, I'm taking the best of Cruz all day long, every day as my closer. Because I just don't think Bednar has the stuff that Cruz has. And we see this very often, by the way. This is a very volatile position, okay? Give Bednar a lot of credit. He's been a closer a long time. But the reality is that this is one of the most heavy turnover positions in sports. And I don't know why people get so caught up in, oh, he's done this and he's done this. And it's like, guys, the closer job, like I know from playing fantasy baseball for years, if you draft a bunch of closers early on, you're going to find yourself picking up the guys that are replacing them during that season. I guarantee.
Also, how long did the Dodgers wait to replace Tanner Scott? Because Tanner Scott was a big money guy. Didn't they sign him to a $60 million deal?
Yeah.
$60 million contract. And by the way, guys, that could be off about 15, 20 million. But the point is they gave Tanner Scott big money to the point, Jake, where we wanted him. And we expected to go get him, right? We're like, oh, okay, hard-throwing lefty, 9,800 miles an hour. He's got the stuff. We like a left-hander at Yankee Stadium. He'll work it to the big part of the park. We talked about all the pros. The Dodgers and their fans were livid of how it looked. Did they just say, oh, no, it'll be better if we can get Tanner Scott to get this figured out? Of course it'd be better. Of course. We're not really saying anything with the comment. Obviously, your closer that you gave a lot of money to or you put a lot of stock in, them getting it figured out is the best course of action. If Devin Williams figured it out, or if Clay Holmes returned to form with the Yankees, it was the easiest and most clean path for the team to win. But sometimes you have to look at it and say, we're not sending you to the sun. Some people might want to get rid of them. That's perfectly fine. But sometimes when you're looking at your team as a must-win season every year, you got to go with the hot hand and let David Bednar work himself back into trust at a role that doesn't have so much at stake. That's all we're saying here. David Bednar doesn't need to go to the sun. David Bednar just can't pitch in the ninth inning right now. And if he starts pitching well, Jake, the end of last year, you were speaking highly of Devin Williams. Maybe not as a return, but we said we don't care when he's pitching well. As long as he's pitching well, it helps us potentially win a World Series. And he wasn't bad towards the end of the season. So that's what we're hoping for with David Bednar. I just don't know if that's at closer the entire year.
And we've been consistent on this, Gary, because you go back to when Clay Holmes was on pace to set the Yankee blown save record that held by Dave Righetti. Fun fact, I always bring that up. But you go back to that, and we didn't just sit here and say Clay Holmes needs to go in the nearest garbage can.
Nope.
We actually were like, you know what? Clay Holmes might be good in the 6th or 7th inning. And you actually look at the splits, and you're like, he actually pitches well in the 6th and 7th inning. So sure enough, like he ended up being used in that type of role. And it was my father who was like, hey, what about Luke Weaver? And so we looked into the splits and we're like, ooh, Luke Weaver in the 9th inning. Those are some good numbers. And then obviously
insanity.
He ended up going on a crazy run, and they ended up going to the World Series with him as their closer. But, all that said, I see James now is saying that was more so about the chat, not us particularly.
Which checks out because it's almost impossible to say and tell from our vantage point of who's talking to us and who's talking to the room.
Exactly.
So, yeah, James, we're not coming at you, but totally understandable. There's going to be people who
I just wanted to address that because it looked like it was like, well, you think this, and I'm like, hold on a sec. We're not quite on that level, but no, we appreciate you being in here. And yeah, it's a good. I'm telling you right now, after such a brutal loss to lose 2-1 to the Toronto Blue Jays, because they're hard to watch, man. They are so hard to watch.
So what is it that you don't like about watching the Jays? Because I might have a different perspective on this, and I'm just curious to know why you don't like
for
it.
them.
Of course you do, but why don't you like watching it?
Well, I can't stand just the bunting and the soft contact every which way. I mean, you have like a beautiful pitch by Schlittler, and the guy just like fists it into the left field and barely gets it, barely hits grass. And then you got Anthony Volpe hitting 104 off the bat, Spencer Jones hitting 100. It's right at guys. That gets a little old for me. And I understand, it kind of coincides with what we were saying, hit them where they ain't, but it's just, they're frustrating to watch because if you're not a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays and they're going up against your team, I mean, that at bat with Jimenez, I wanted to put my fist through the screen. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. When he walked, so he basically, Schlittler gets into that stupid jam, which again, like that never should have been, the bases never should have been loaded. No idea what Austin Wells was doing, with that play, because that, to me, that's Goldschmidt's ball. That's Goldschmidt's ball. He was there first, and Wells, he's still grabbing onto his hand. I couldn't stand that play. But the way I see it is that they deserve credit, but I'm not going to sit here and say they aren't annoying. And by the way, it's the same energy as a Marco Scutaro. It's the same energy as Ernie Clement in the playoffs. It's the same energy as Jose Juan Barea, JJ Barea in the playoffs with the Dallas Mavericks. As a Laker fan, I couldn't stand him. I was actually hoping Andrew Bynum would pick him up and suplex him. I couldn't stand that guy. But you know what? They won that series because of the plays he made. I'm not saying he was the only reason they won, but he was a big reason. And so they have a lot of those like glue guys and just like pests, right? They're, as Gary might call them, maybe he won't call them, but you're going to have them in your rooms, probably in the next month or so. Fruit flies, right? You always seem to have fruit flies around you.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They're just everywhere in Arizona, apparently. But here's the thing. They're fruit flies, Gary. Are you kidding me? You got Valenzuela and Jimenez. Jimenez isn't a great hitter. He's not. He has a 274 on base. Jimenez made that was the most important at bat of the entire day because the bases were loaded. He fouled off like 10 pitches on Schlittler and really made him work. And then Schlittler just missed location, didn't swing at it, and boom, now he walks in the first run of the game. And that's a huge blow. And then, on top of that, you got Dalton Varsho, a guy that can strike out 3 times, but then he always seems to get that annoying hit where it's almost off the nub of the bat and it goes into left field for a base hit. And then you have George Springer, who can be a pain in the ass as well. So they have these guys, Sanchez, Miles Straw, right? They just find ways to put it in play. I
love everything about it.
I gotta say though, I hate the bunts. I think it's so Bush League. I can't say it's not. I'm not talking about strategically moving the runner over. I'm saying when they go up there and they're just butting left and right. That to me, that's not baseball. That's like the jackass that just stays behind, the 3-point line and just all he does is jack up threes and like can't even hit them, but just keeps doing it anyway.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. The more fun way to watch baseball is the way the Yankees play. Everyone agrees with that. If you go watch the 2004 Yankees, the way that they played, any person who witnessed watching that, and you're like, okay, it's just back to back to back to back to back at bats where something really cool can happen. From an entertainer's standpoint, it's as good as it gets, right? And you can obviously go back in history and just find different teams in different years, and you're like, okay, this is what I want to watch. But here's why I love watching the Jays. It continues to expose a major flaw about the Yankees. It doesn't mean the Yankees baseball team sucks. What it means is that the Yankees are built for innings 1 through 7. In a situation a postseason-like situation, innings 8 through 9, 10, 11, and everyone's pressing, everyone's tense, and everything has to go perfectly. All communication has to go perfectly. The guys who are pests, who have annoying at-bats, Cody Bellinger-like at-bats, right? Ernie Clement type at-bats, Jimenez, the at-bat you saw today, those are the teams that win 9 times out of 10 in these type of games. That's the reason why, guys, the Yankees, they don't just have bad luck. Guys who are trying to hit the ball 110 don't win games like this, where both teams are just dominating the game. Do you know why Cam Schlittler walked in, guys, and he was conveniently missing location? And the one time in the game he didn't need to was because he understood the Yankees' style of play was never getting off the mat unless he was going to be perfect. I had to go 0 for 0 for the Yankees' style of play to work in this game. He knew that. He won't tell that to you, but you guys all know that. The Yankees needed it to be 0-0 going into the ninth, and they were going to hit a fly ball out to right field that would have left, and we would have said, and the Yankees win in a pitcher's duel. They're not the type to have that gnat of an at-bat, that ugly single that's lucky, right? They don't have those type of hitters. They have Trent Grisham's. Trent Grisham, I hit the ball 114. Shouldn't I be rewarded? No. Your job as a hitter is to put the defense in as bad of a position as possible. The Jays do it on a daily basis. They're just injured right now. But when push comes to shove at the end of this season, when more than likely, the Jays will be a wild card team. Trey Savage is going to come onto the road, and the Yankees are going to have to prove they can play an ugly brand of baseball. And so far, they can't. They can't. And it's been proven not just in this series, Jake, in the Tampa series. We watched Tampa do this exact same thing. We're going to bunt. Oh, no, you know what we're going to do again? We're going to bunt. Is it fun? No, it's not. But a lot of times, if October baseball was played in June and July, it wouldn't look very fun either. It's a lot of foul balls. It's a lot of gnat at bats. And there's always some unsung hero on the roster who's more of a contact bat, who has the most impact. The Yankees really just now brought in players who can have those gnat type at bats. Bellinger, right? Goldschmidt, Caballero, different players like that. But you look at Austin Wells, Ryan McMahon, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, those guys don't have gnat, ugly, nasty type 12, 13 pitch at bats. They don't do that. It's not our brand of baseball. So I completely understand where you're coming from. From a viewer's point of view,
well,
this is not good.
It's not even that, Gary. I like it from a viewer's point of view. I'm just saying when my team goes against it, it's just
I like it because the Yankees should learn from this, and they refuse to. This is the style of baseball. All the bunting and the just slapping the ball in play.
I get what you're
saying. It
just
works better. That's why they do it.
If you're, say, obviously we're both fans of the Yankees. Mm-hmm. As a fan, the objective is to win the game.
Correct.
I don't want to be seeing this. Like it's a compliment to them because they're a pain in the ass, and they know they're a pain in the ass. They absolutely know that. But I also, let's not get it twisted. I agree with you because it's why, let's not forget one of my all-time favorite players I've ever watched play the game.
Oh, who's that?
Is Chandler Simpson.
So exactly. So in a way, you hate watching against your own team, but we need to acknowledge.
No, I even like watching him against the Yankees because I think he's that good. I think here's the thing. I don't think Jimenez is a good hitter. I don't. I think he had a few of those fluky. I mean, you give him credit, right? I think when you watch Simpson, he's got an actual plan of attack at the plate. He actually commands every at-bat he takes, okay? He knows what he's going to do. Jimenez is just reacting. Simpson goes in, I'm going to take over this at-bat. I'm not going to wait until the pitch comes to me. I'm going to go at the pitch. And I feel like, those kind of bottom of the barrel, down the lineup guys, those are the guys that just drive me insane, like a Valenzuela and
I just don't know if it's not planned on their part, because if you really think about it, in all of the games against contenders, the Jays always have the luck. And I don't say luck as in actually luck. I just believe if you're a team who strikes out a lot, you're not going to be lucky to actually have anything go your way. And I believe the Jays' approach is we're just going to put the ball in play in a lot of these close games, and the results are just going to go our way more times than not. Really, more so like watching in the NFL, we were like, we threw the ball downfield successfully like 6 or 7 times, and then Brady or Manning or Drew Brees are just dinking and dunking and dinking and dunking. Well, sometimes the dinking and dunking is actually the better play. And no one really they don't really acknowledge it. But when push comes to shove in the postseason, and you're talking playoff football, a lot of times the best play the young quarterback or the veteran could have ever made was realizing, oh, the blitz is coming from over here. I'll just dink it over there. Instead of trying to be a hero, I just do less. The Jays are right now showing Yankees hitters, you can be great over 162 over a large sample size, but once we shrink it, it's just you and me, we're going to bring it and grind you down into this ugly brand of baseball that looks lucky, but I firmly believe this is an intentional brand of baseball that is disgusting to watch, but for me, I love it because the Yankees have to understand that might be something we have to adopt down the road. Bring in talent, but also bring in talent that's willing to play that ugly brand. The Cody Bellingers, right? Those type of players, we need more of them. We need more Caballeros. We need more guys willing to have that Jimenez at bat where they're just slapping foul balls and slap a ball in play and a defense has to make a play in a one-run game. I just thought what they did today was infuriating, but a firm example of what works in these games.
That's
Space
what I'm
Noid
saying
with the 5.
They're absolutely infuriating. And Brian Bashman said, come on, Jake, you said it was Bush League. I said bunting every time is Bush League. I didn't say their whole style of play is Bush League.
I don't think anything you do is Bush League because what do you want them to do? You want them to try to do what we do, which is hit the ball hard and then be like, oh, I guess we weren't lucky. And it's like, I would rather guys bunt the ball.
I want to bring up something here. The perfect example of what the Yankees are missing, you look at that Cody Bellinger slaps, it was a slap double to left field.
Right.
How many players, Gary, do you think on this team could have actually made contact with that ball? Say a righty.
I can list it for you.
Where he hit it as a lefty, you can put that where a righty would be hitting it, on the opposite side. But I want to know what you think, because I only really see on this roster, I think the way he hit it, right? The swing he had, right? I see Goldschmidt. I see Rosario. I've seen Rosario do it.
Rosario was on my list. You can go ahead and skip over McMahon. You can skip over
Caballero. That's it.
Correct. So you just gave me a list of 3 players, didn't you?
Yeah.
How long's the Jays list? We're not telling you guys the Jays are a better baseball team right now as currently constructed, but what we are telling you is that considering if we can give you guys a longer list on an opposing team that we consider eventual contenders, you're essentially saying they're going to have a longer list of players willing to play situational baseball.
I just don't understand
how you're really admitting
Bellinger can have that bat path, which I've already said. He has every club in the bag, and that showed it, right? Also, him getting on base and scoring the only run of the day won us Prize Picks, which I know you weren't there yesterday to pick, but that still goes to our bank. So
goes to the pool.
Yeah, it goes to the pool. So
look at Space Noid, by the way, he's beyond burnt into the screen. So Space Noid, appreciate
like
the 5.
He's tired of being burnt into the screen.
He does, yeah. He says the Yankees get gifted 4 runs and have no ability to do anything with them before the 1 in the 9th. Got to convert on God-given chances. I really didn't feel like the Yankees gave away chances, to be quite honest with you. I just thought this was a situation where they just made zero adjustment offensively to a player who has a strategy against their style of play.
I think hitters, their captain needs to show up because Judge was nowhere to be seen. He was pulling a Houdini act. And I mean, he struck out 4 times today and 2 of them were looking. And now all of a sudden, Judge is hitting 256. He was hitting I think he was hitting over 400 at this point last year. I just looked at it yesterday.
Yeah, and it's like, that's of course not our standard, but our standard is that in the games where you say, okay, we're facing Tampa, like we've already identified who the contenders are so far this year. It's Tampa, it's Toronto. Like some of these teams that were like, those are the teams you would circle on our calendar. You have to show up for those games. And he was a no-show, unfortunately. It just can't happen. But yeah, I didn't really feel like there were any God-given chances today. I mean, there's a squibber in the infield, and your catcher thinks he's who? He's Pudge Rodriguez coming out from the crouch position. He's going to overtake a ball where you have a perfect view of the play, and Paul Goldschmidt's there. Who do you want the ball in the hands of? You or a player who's been in this league 15 years, who's a sure-handed first baseman? I think him. It's just common knowledge.
I think he's talking about the pop-ups. I think there were two, like the loop singles that actually fell. It's funny because Jazz had some weird base running today, but I want to give Jazz a lot of credit for the way he hustled at the end of this game. Got to second on the steal, got out of the double play, kept it going for Ahmed Rosario, who unfortunately struck out, and then hustling on that play. Say what you will. This is why I do care about a Johnny Hustle, Manny Machado, is because at the end of the day, when you're running down the first baseline, I've been a pitcher trying to flip the ball. I don't care who you are. It is nerve-wracking to hear those steps going down the first baseline. You're running out of time. You have to get it over there. And even just the sound of that can be disrupting. And I believe that's what happened with Varland, trying to do too much, not just fielding the play, but hearing Jazz and just obviously how fast he moves. Yeah, I think that, he deserves credit. He also hit, he went 3 for 4 today. He's hitting 244 now, a 323 on base percentage. Looks like Jazz is starting to heat up in the heat. So to be fair to him, I guess he just doesn't hit in the cold. And, well, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to hit in the cold not long from now. It'll be October, and they're going to need him. But at least for now, that is something I wanted to point out. And then there was another thing I wanted to point out. And, in this game, I think, obviously we'll talk about Grisham. I still think it's hilarious, by the way, that Grisham gets a hit for that. That was just terrible. That defensive play was awful. They looked at the ball fall down, and because it didn't hit off of anybody, it's a hit and not an error.
That only happens for the players that you don't really like too much. Like, if you ever notice that as a Yankees fan, if there's ever a player at the plate where you're like, you know what, I can't stand watching Ryan McMahon. The very next at bat he has is the most CNI single you've ever seen, and they're like, "Oh, he had hit last at bat." I'm like, "Oh, did he?"
Oh, dude, last night, don't get me started. Last night I had somebody come in here. Obviously, appreciate anybody that's watching our show, but I had somebody saying you and Gary were hating on Ryan McMahon and acting like and then basically he was saying that I was just quick to dismiss what he did, and your mom's like, doesn't he get 16? I think she said 16 bones per year. It's like, what are we doing? Isn't he supposed to be good sometimes? And I'm like, well, yeah, this is what we've talked about. I just thought it was so funny because it's like, what isn't talked about there is it's the assumption we've given Ryan McMahon a lot of flack, and we did in the last episode before yesterday. Do you know what we said signing off? We basically let people know we believed Ryan McMahon was going to have a good game against a pitcher that he historically hit really well against in Dylan Cease. And guess what happened? He hit really well against Dylan Cease, and then the next day, oh, you were hating on Ryan McMahon? He went 0 for 3 with a strikeout, and he was totally useless in the moment. And by the way, I was talking to Ed W., and I want to throw this out there. I want to stop saying useless. Not because I'm worried about offending anyone. I don't give a rip about that. The reality is, you're not useless. It's actually not possible. It's worse, believe it or not, because you're given 3 outs per inning, and if you don't do anything like Austin Wells and that incredibly awful bat path that he has, like that breaking ball, I don't even know what he's swinging at. Not like that's a bad pitch he's swinging at, which is already decided, but I don't know where, did he think he was going to hit the ball? Do we have to get him tested and have glasses? I don't know.
Sports science did tell us that you can't see the ball. Once you started your swing, it's like an actual science that the ball's invisible to your naked eye.
I knew this. Yes,
but ironically, once he made his decision to swing, it's like, where did you think the ball actually was? And by the way, majority of the swing and misses that you see, the miss is so marginal that on TV it looks like a guy was blown away. But once they show you the side angle, you're like, oh, he was kind of on that ball. He's below it. They're usually below the ball, right? It's typical.
Yeah.
But Austin Wells in that bat path and the swing choice, he wasn't even close to the baseball.
It wasn't close. I texted you immediately, and I'm like, that's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Now, to the point that I was making with Ed, and I actually like this because I think it puts into perspective, okay? We talk about useless. We talk about being useless. That's not true. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, you're actually hurting your team. Like when you don't come through, that's an out. That actually cost me in that inning. It's not actually being useless. It's doing more. It's actually negatively affecting my team. It's not like you're not contributing. See, here's the difference, Gary. That I want to make this clear, okay? You have 5 points in an NBA game. Mm-hmm. Other guys can pick up the slack, right?
Correct.
You, in the NFL, if you're not getting open, other guys can get open, get the ball, right?
They just won't throw you the ball. They'll throw it to somebody else.
Yeah, right. The game still goes on, right?
Correct.
Okay. Hockey. You're missing, you just continue to just fan on pucks and, you're missing the net. Other guys can pick up and score. You're not the only one that is like allowed to score, okay? When it comes to baseball, if you're bad at the plate, everyone suffers. Literally everyone. And that's the thing that I want to have this distinction where, again, I don't care about offending anybody. He is not useless because useless would be better. It actually pleads the case, like the route running argument I'm making, like I'm missing the net every time I try to, score in hockey, or I'm only scoring 5 points, or as people say online, I think it was Bobby Portis was doing cardio, playing 40 minutes in a 0-0-0-0-0.
Oh, yeah, because that technically wasn't a 0 game. He's still, technically speaking, it's like, yeah, all his stats were 0.
Yeah.
But at least he wasn't taking any shots.
Exactly.
That means the other 4 players were just able to step in for him. In this situation, basically what you're arguing, Jake, is that you're by force. You have to come up there 4 times. And so if you go 0 for 4 and you don't get anybody over, you strike out twice, strike out 3 times. Like Aaron Judge today, Aaron Judge wasn't a 0, right? Useless would imply 0. 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts in a game you lose 2-1 is beyond that. It's beyond 0. It is
because you're right in the thick of the meat of the order. So it's actually
you are beyond 0.
You could make the argument Judge was worse than Wells today because Judge is in between Ben Rice, in between Cody Bellinger, in between Jazz Chisholm and Goldschmidt. Like all those guys hit around where Judge is in the lineup. And so that causes strain because, obviously Ben Rice he went 0 for 4 as well. But if you're like Cody Bellinger, you come up to the plate, Ben Rice got on, but now Judge is, he struck out the last at bat. Well, guess what, Cody? If you ground out, you might ground into a double play, inning ending, just like that. So it really does kind of change things. And that was the thing where actually the other day when Volpe got thrown out, I think it was yesterday, actually. Terrible call, by the way. Absolutely safe. Boone was livid. I don't know if I've ever seen him go before. Like, he was so mad he had to challenge.
Wait, when was this?
Yesterday. He did the whole...
I couldn't even tell you. Dude, yesterday was the first day. I didn't watch a pitch. Nothing.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Because, it was your wife's birthday.
It was a nice day off. I didn't have to watch Anthony Volpe take any at-bats. I didn't have to see Anthony Volpe challenge pitches that are right down the middle off a submarine pitcher today. I didn't have to watch any of those.
Yeah, that was terrible. But Anthony Volpe, I thought, played pretty well yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. He did. But of course I missed that one, and then I had to watch what I saw today.
Yeah. But like what I'm saying is Volpe was absolutely safe, right? Mm-hmm. And they called him out. The reason why it hurt, because not only did it end the inning, it ended the inning with Austin Wells at the plate. I would rather, and call me crazy here, I know Volpe, if he's safe, he'd be at second base. I'd rather get Austin Wells out and then bring up the top half of the order in the next inning with 2 outs. You have 2 outs. You have Austin
what do
Wells
they
at
call
the plate.
that? What do they call that in war? Is it martyrdom? where basically
there's a thing?
Yeah. It's basically if you die too many times in a row in Call of Duty, you're so bad at the game.
Oh, you drop
the next time
grenade.
you die, you drop a live grenade. And every once in a while, you're kind of in the thick of things, taking a position.
I'd always
your
get
grenade,
always,
exactly. Your grenade will set off and blow up somebody on the other team, and they're like, "Oh, nice work, you got a kill." It's basically just like charity work, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're basically saying I would have liked Austin Wells to actually go up there and get his failure out the way so that I can reset the next inning. That
with full
just
no outs.
The fact that you even acknowledge that on a podcast in front of hundreds, and it's going to be thousands of people by tomorrow, and no one is going to be like, that's a ludicrous idea. Not one person, because it's nonsensical to want to lead off the next inning with Austin Wells. It's not an advantage whatsoever. I'm telling you guys, it shows you, it's an illustration of how bad, it's honestly how bad he is. He is not a net, he is a net negative to the New York Yankees. And any trade that we even acknowledge on this show, whether it's feasible or not, the Yankees can go get any catcher. And the guy, as long as he's league average defensively, the average catcher in the game would make the Yankees a better baseball team. Any catcher.
Yeah.
Take your pick. Roll the dice. I promise you, the defensive nature of Austin Wells' game and the pitch framing, it doesn't matter enough to where you're at bat 4 times a game is a net negative. It can't.
I'm starting to see, by the way, with the audience, when it comes to Austin Wells, I'm starting to see people are saying that they don't like the way he calls games. They actually blamed the pitch that Schlittler threw that walked in the first run of the game. They blamed that on Wells.
He also went with a 3-1 cutter to walk another hitter, which I wasn't sure if that was a decision made because he felt like Schlittler couldn't give up any contact whatsoever given the score of the game. But realistically, you've got to force him in the zone in that situation.
I agree.
You're already in the situation. You've got to challenge the hitter, and he made a choice deliberately not to. And Cam's sitting post-game going, "Oh, I missed a spot." It's like, no, you didn't. Why are you throwing a backdoor cutter behind an account to a hitter that isn't Vladdy Jr.? This is the bottom of their order throw.
It's that people are saying, like, obviously the play with Goldschmidt. Wells had an objectively horrendous game all around today. You can make the argument he was the worst player on the field on both sides. He struggled. He did. And the thing is, we've seen this with Anthony Volpe, where he struggles at the plate, and then the struggles bled into his ability on the field. When that starts happening, your confidence is lost, or even if it's not a confidence issue and it's just, hey, it just affects his play. And guess what? There's no reason to play you anymore. And look, I want Austin Wells to figure it out. Ideally, I want Austin Wells to hit 300. I'm just a realist in this sense, and I've seen the light, and I understand why people were like, Jake, why do you keep giving Austin Wells all this leeway? Because to be fair, Gary, everyone was all over Volpe. We've been all over Grisham. We've been all over McMahon. Austin Wells is arguably worse than all of them. The difference is he's a catcher. So you get to kind of have that built-in excuse.
Less offensive pressure. For sure.
I don't have as much pressure. I'm important because I play the catcher position, which is one of the most important positions to play. And the analytics are saying that I'm the best defensive catcher in the league, which actually I don't think he is. So, that said, I'm not rooting against Austin Wells. I'm just telling you guys how I feel.
I hate that you say that.
I have to. I
hate it, Jake. It's my least favorite thing when people go, I don't hate him, but, and then they say their criticism. Guys, anyone who's willing to tell you as a defense for you criticizing a baseball player or an athlete in general, any sport, you must hate him. Just know that person has no intention on talking sports with you, no matter what your opinion is. I promise you, anytime you see why the hate, why this hate, they just don't want to talk sports with you. They want you to be agreeable. That's all it is. Jake, you could say what you want. I'm here to tell you right now, you don't need to preface your statement at all. Austin Wells is one of the worst baseball players I've ever watched. I don't give a damn what he does behind the plate. We can find somebody else to do that.
By the way, you weren't even here yesterday when I went through his monthly splits, and I basically came to the conclusion he had 2 good months in his entire career.
Yeah, JC Escar, by the way, I know some people are like, I like his at-bats better. JC Escar is not any good either. It's not good.
No, but you know who might actually be worth calling up? I'm not saying he's great.
Who?
Peyton Henry. He's in
Who's
AAA. He has an 817 OPS.
I mean, sure, but I just feel like the most likely scenario for the Yankees to find a solution is probably just somebody, considering the fact, the nature of what the Yankees are trying to do right now, which is a win now season. Like, we want them to win. Yes, bringing up a catcher and replacing Wells makes the team better. I agree with you, right? So that's like the goal. But also the goal isn't just that. The goal is to not only get better, but get, what do we call it? Get gooder, right?
Yeah,
you need to get good. You don't just bring somebody up, be like, well, he technically makes us better. That's not the goal.
No, I agree.
We want to make sure we bring someone in the room that we would trust on a big stage. And maybe calling up this prospect makes the Yankees marginally better, or actually a lot better in the regular season. But Jake, at some point or another, you can make the argument that the Yankees should maybe call somebody up and go get somebody.
Because the Yankees have two catchers over 800 OPS in AAA. I'm not saying that they're amazing. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, as I've made this argument a million times, it sounds like a broken record, the bar is so freaking low that you could call up Peyton Henry, who, by the way, I've never watched. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just looking at the stats. I've never seen him. I've never even seen a highlight of him. And I watch a lot of highlights that come up on my feed about the AAA.
Haven't seen him at all.
Peyton Henry and Ali Sanchez are both hitting over 800 for the OPS, okay? He's hitting 259. Sanchez is hitting 267. He's 28. Sanchez is 29, okay? Now, this is where I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm not 100% certain he would have worked out, but the Yankees traded away two catchers, okay? They traded away two catchers. They traded away the guy with the Marlins, who, by the way, is back in AAA.
Yeah, we knew he was Gary Sanchez.
We liked him, but we knew he wasn't going to offer much defensively.
He was horrible defensively, and then eventually his hit tool got so bad, the Miami Marlins sent him back down to the minor leagues. So if that tells you how bad he was,
yeah,
I mean,
Agustin Ramirez.
To tell you, yeah.
Rafael Flores, though, and I couldn't tell you what he's doing right now,
What's he doing?
This is one of those things where they traded him for Bednar, right? And I mean, you can make the argument. Obviously, it's worked out for Bednar. I mean, I know he's struggling right now, but I mean, he was great last year.
No, I still do that Bednar trade. I just go get another catcher. I just think at this point, I don't want to look into the past and be like, what could have been. It's not like those guys were that great that they gave up anyways. Like either of the two players. Just go take your pick of a catcher.
On fire when they traded him. He's actually hitting 213 right now in the minors. So I don't know what happened, but I do know, and I've said this, the Yankees minor league system has just been way different lately, where you're talking about, I mean, there's two catchers hitting over 800 OPS, and, we're constantly talking about, oh, this guy's showing up and this guy's showing up. And it just makes you wonder, okay, yeah, if they didn't trade away Rafael Flores, I mean, what does he look like with the Yankees, But
you can definitely make the argument that in a way, we can look at players from another system and just make the assumption we'll do something better with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing, right? It's definitely good. But the fact that we're sitting here talking in mid to late May about whether or not the Yankees need to call up a prospect that, frankly, most people haven't even heard of, to provide a Band-Aid at the position till the deadline, most likely, at a premier position at catcher. I mean, it just goes to show you this. It's definitely pretty sad. Slim Lewis, thank you for the 5. Says Goodman's career, considering this is going to be one of our topics, is talking about Goodman. His career on base percentage is 291 outside of course. So we obviously really appreciate you going to retrieve those numbers. Also, hope you're still here, considering this super chat happened a while ago. Because, guys, we're going to get into the supers. You guys have been awesome tonight. We appreciate it. It says also not a free agent until 2030, so might be costly. Obviously, talking about more control there, that the Yankees are just in love with trading for players that have control instead of just being talented. It says Cruz looks legit. Boone left Cam in too long. Again, what do you think about? Let's start with this Cam situation, and then we'll work to Goodman. Do you feel like Cam was left into the game, or do you felt like, for me personally, I'll give you my take, I felt like Cam Schlittler was the best option for the Yankees in that inning, just the pitch selection made zero sense whatsoever. And that's coming from a guy who typically goes right after hitters. And if you look at the pitch selection that Austin Wells, the fingers that he put down, how can you even in your right mind say the 3-1 cutter backdoor is the correct play in a situation where you quite literally have to throw strikes? I didn't see how that made any sense whatsoever. Did you feel like there was a name that you wanted out of the bullpen to come into the game at that point? Because obviously Slim didn't mention any name he wanted. I don't think this bullpen's good enough, any name, to possibly justify taking Cam Schlittler out of a 1-0 game, 0-0 game, and opting for who? Like, was there a name that you wanted?
No, I wanted to keep Schlittler in there. I didn't think he looked bad at all. And by the way, the at bat until that call was made, I thought he had that at bat. I really did. And
I agree.
I just think I'm typically going to err on the side of I want to keep the starting pitcher in the game as long as possible, especially when I don't feel like we have anything close to a super bullpen.
Is Betances back there that we didn't know about? Is
Yeah,
Zach Britton back there that we didn't know about in his prime? Was it Chapman? I mean, what group are we talking about here?
It's funny because I forget was it Ed who said who are they sending down when they call up Cole in the chat? That better be Yarbrough. He's useless. He is absolutely useless.
He might be a net zero, not negative, but he might be a zero for the team.
Yeah, he's not negative, but he's a neutral, and so. Yeah.
But Slim, we really appreciate the super, and of course, this is thought provoking.
Mm-hmm.
When a guy goes out there and surrenders a walk, and you're talking about walking in runs and giving up the lead at the time when we couldn't afford to give up runs, it's frustrating and it feels like there should be someone to blame. I felt like Boone made the right decision. Our bullpen stinks. We just had someone come out there and they look, whether you want him to be the closer or not, the fact that Yvanni Cruz even has an argument to be in a prominent role day one tells you everything you need to know about the state of the group of the bullpen. I don't think that group is strong enough to justify really Cam Schlittler coming out of any game with under 110 pitches. That's with all due respect to that group, or disrespect, if however you want to take it. But Slim, we appreciate it. And Space, Noid, welcome back in with the 5. Says Yankees. So he says Yankees get gifted like 4 base runners and can't convert before the 1 in the 9th. Pitiful. Got to convert on those against A+ pitching. That's something that A+ pitching forces you to do, is have the right mentality. And Jake, some of the at-bats that you said were like ugly, and you get the concept. Like those ugly at-bats are just effective and they're annoying. Yet the Yankees have to find ways to tap into that. And so far they've really refused. Jazz is definitely getting more towards that now. Cody Bellinger's in that fold. Paul Goldschmidt's in that fold. But you actually mentioned something, Jake, that a lot of people glossed over. They didn't really talk about your point. And it was Aaron Judge and that his inability to have those grinded out at bats. And it feels like it needs to be 2-1, 3-1, where he's looking to leave the yard. Sometimes we need you to do less, right? And we understand that you're the MVP, you're the captain. For a lot of people, you're the hero or you're the villain. Sometimes you need to find a way to not give us a 0 for the at bat. You just need to move it along in an ugly fashion. And Aaron Judge really hasn't found a way, kind of to Space Node's point here. He hasn't found ways when you're gifted base runners to capitalize in those situations. So we're not knocking Aaron Judge's ability to drive in runs. Jake, you and I both know he's one of the best run producers in the game. But sometimes the job of a run producer is to make it look ugly, but make it get done. And so that's one of the situations that he really fails at so far. And he looked really good last postseason for whatever sample size you'd consider that. But we need more of it. We need more.
No, I mean, look, I love Aaron Judge, but he's not one of those grinder, at bats. I mean, it's not like he can't have one here and there, but I mean, it's a different type of hitter, right?
It is different style.
I will say, I can now confidently say here in mid-May or past mid now, Judge is not the same hitter as last year. There's a switch that's gone off in his head where he wants to hit for power, and I don't see him being willing to just swat the ball over the shortstop for a base hit like he did last year.
He did that a lot last year. During the regular season, it was actually part of the reason why you made the prediction. You were actually first with it saying that Judge was going to be good in this last postseason because of those hits, not homers, not ribbies, but at bats where he's just willing to do less instead of chasing a certain result, trying to put the ball in the air and forcing things to happen. You actually said the reason you think he'll do better is because he's not really forcing anything. He is forcing stuff. He's still hitting for power.
Exactly.
He's still no one's going to be like, oh, 267 with 15 homers. How are you going to complain about that? You can't complain about it. But what we're really talking about here is some of those ugly swings, like a swing that you'd see Cody Bellinger give us where you said he's got every club in the bag. We need Aaron Judge to pull out the 9-iron one time. Pull out the wedge one time. Do something less. We watched Vladdy Jr. do it all postseason last year. And to be honest with you, I thought the Jays should have won the World Series the way that they played and the type of at-bats they had. The reason that they were there in the first place was because they're willing to pull out the sand wedge instead of pulling out the driver and the 3-wood every single swing. So Aaron Judge, unfortunately, I mean, I don't see how it's possible that a 34-year-old baseball player who's an MVP, so it's not like he has to change much about his game.
Yeah. I
don't see him really making this change. It seems like the change is probably going to come from players with much less talent.
No, and that's the thing, is that Judge is just going to be Judge. He's going to hit the way he hits, and that's just the reality of the situation. I got to be honest. I don't love, because, Hunter Goodman was brought up, and I think we should probably get to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love Hunter Goodman. I want to make that clear. I think the best option for the New York Yankees and doing something a little bit different is going after Ryan Jeffers. I think you're focused more on contact than power. I think Goodman is injured. The type of... Yeah, exactly. Because he has the hamate bone injury, which I won't even go near. Won't even go near that.
So brutal.
I'm not trading for a rental with a hamate bone injury. It's not happening. Just not doing it. Like, I think there's so much risk there. So, anyway, Goodman becomes the best option. The problem is, when we got this news, and I told Gary straight up, I was like, this sucks. Because not only does it suck for him and you feel bad, but it sucks for the Yankees. Because now the catcher's going to be needed across the league. I mean, we just, there's an injury to Drake Baldwin. He's my favorite catcher in baseball.
There were a lot of people as well who brought up JT Realmuto, and then Philadelphia goes and hires a new manager, and they don't stop losing. That's part of the trade market as well. You can't just look at what you want. You also have to look at, is it realistic from the other organization's standpoint and point of view that they're willing to move on from this player right this second at the same time that you want to acquire them? And they also have to be losing. If they're going the right direction, you think Philadelphia is going to move off of Realmuto? There also has to be a financial pathway for it to happen. Do you guys really see the Yankees bring on a player who makes $15 to $20 million a year, given their financial constraints? And we hate to say that, but they're a team who moves like that. And that's the way they've continued to move. They work at the margins on players making, again, marginal money. Realmuto doesn't really fit that mold. So you have to find a right-handed contact hitting first catcher who's good enough defensively, who has less control so the Yankees don't have to give up so much to get him. Slim pickings. It is. It's not like the Yankees have a plethora of options that look great, where you're going to go into a series and feel like you have something comparable to what Toronto has when he's healthy in Alonzo Kirk. There's a mismatch there at catcher, and the Yankees have to be okay with that. But they also they cannot go into the postseason, Jake, with Austin Wells as catcher. They cannot go in October baseball with JC Escara as their starting catcher. There's no answer in the room today. There's no answer with us.
I don't know if there is.
You have to go find it.
Because there might not be. Right? Hunter Goodman is not perfect. And I'm going to show you his Savant page just to show you, we're big contact fans. I'm contact over power all day.
100%.
But here's the problem. He's not exactly a contact guy. He's
the worst base runner in the game. Wow, interesting.
Yeah, that's another thing. Say what you will, Austin Wells can score from first. I've seen it.
Yeah, he just never gets over to first.
That's true. So that's, you know what I mean? That's concerning, Gary. I like I told you, I don't love anybody. I mean, I think Jeffers is the best fit. And I would say this, when it comes to the Hammett bone injury, I'm definitely cautious, but I guess the bar's so low, and I've said this a billion times, but it is. I guess I would just make the trade as long as, like, oh yeah, maybe you're not getting close to 800 OPS Ryan Jeffers, right? But if you're getting like 710, that's an upgrade. So,
Dude.
you know what I mean? So it's like, if he's able to come back from that, and I would assume an organization like the New York Yankees will have all the info they need before they pull the trigger on that type of deal. As long as he can come back, I think I would do it. I think I'm going to change my opinion right now. I would go with Ryan Jeffers. I think Hunter Goodman, there's too much there. He is hitting way better on the road. That was my biggest thing, is that he's hitting way better on the road, out of Coors Field. But Goodman, it's the same issues, Gary. I don't know if I'm trying to bring up the same issues. I'm not trying to have the 35% K rate. I'm not trying to have a 34% whiff rate for a guy. I know he had 31 home runs last year, but I'm going to stay consistent here, Gary. The 31 home runs is not what I'm looking for. Although, keep in mind, if he ends up being like he was last year, to be fair, right? 278 with an 843 OPS, 31 home runs, 150 hits. That's a really good player. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and say if he does what he did in 2025, I'm out on him, right? I'm still not even out on him, okay? I'm just saying, Hunter Goodman, I'm just saying that he's not my favorite option. Like, he's the best option available that's healthy. But this goes to show you that the Yankees, I mean, we talked about this. How many times were they drafting shortstops? How many times? They just kept drafting shortstops.
More. Every time they do it more. By the way, I feel like Austin Wells is like a box. They are behind the 8 ball, but I just feel like Austin Wells is a can of Spam. And sometimes you don't need to replace it with some steak. You can just go into the pantry and find a bag of chips, and it's just better. It is. That and there's gonna be people who look at by far. There's gonna be people who look at Hunter Goodman and they're gonna be like, I don't want that. It's like, okay, well, do you want that or do you want Austin Wells? By the way, I feel like Austin Wells has to just look like the Titanic with his Baseball Savant page. Can you pull him up?
Oh, and just to show you, blocks above average, caught stealing above average, doesn't have a great arm, but
still good framing, which, I mean, I don't care. I don't care
give
about
a rippity doo-dah about framing. I just don't.
Bring up Austin Wells for me. Okay. So whatever Baseball Savant is doing by like...
Excuse me? So he's gotten slower? No, I'm out.
They probably just don't have enough sample size of him running down the first base line to even know what speed he is. But by the way, if Baseball Savant, if you looked at these numbers and you covered his name, you'd be like, oh, that's just like some mediocre to bad baseball player. These numbers do no justice whatsoever about the type of offensive unit he's been this season. Austin Wells is hitting 165 with 3 home runs, 0 stolen bases. His on base is 287, and his slugging, get this, guys, his entire game is to hit homers. That's why he's here, right? The Yankees have him as a starting catcher, not because of the framing. They'll tell you that. It's not. The reason he's there is because you see the 21 homers in 2025. They're hoping to get 25. That's what they wanted. A guy who can frame and hit 25 home runs. Here's the funny part. You can tell me that a player with a slugging of 252 in an average of 165, his numbers look like this? No, they don't. No, they don't. These numbers don't indicate anything. I'm telling you guys, this is the worst hitter in the game today. There's not another player that's worse than this. Nobody.
It's not what you want.
I'm telling you guys, there's nobody. He's up there trying to walk, and if he gets a 3-1 count, he's trying to take lift off, and that's not working. Doesn't work.
I mean, if Austin Wells was even what he did last year, it's fine. Totally fine. Is he great? No. I mean, what's funny is the on-base percentage is better than last year. but the slugging was in the 400s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he had an above 700 OPS. I just need my catcher who's batting ninth to not be a minor league player. And this is, I mean, like you said, 165, 539 OPS. Let's look at JC Escar to kind of put it in perspective, because it's not going to be great for him either.
Yeah, this should be the Titanic. Just a total iceberg.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to say here. Better athlete, which I wasn't expecting. Pop time is a lot better. The framing is not anywhere near as good, but framing's overrated in my opinion.
He's a 56 overall in MLB The Show if he was rated. I don't know what his actual rating is, but I'd imagine he's a common card. Austin Wells is a common. There's too many common cards on the baseball field right now for the Yankees. JC Escar needs to get off of our screen. Sorry, JC. I'm going to say what Jake likes to say. We don't dislike you. We dislike the performance of the entire group of catchers. Slim Lewis with the 5 says Cruz has easy gas and repeatable mechanics, the opposite of Doval. Well, Doval also doesn't have any wrinkle to his game. And for whatever reason, Jake, I actually don't even have an answer for why Doval is so easily picked up by hitters. His 101 mile cutter plays like it's 90. Hitters are not fooled, surprised. No. They're not intimidated. Nothing about his cutter. Really just, when I watch it, he looks incredible just on screen. But then when you see the result, you're just like, wow.
I have a feeling my theory is the arm angle makes his stuff look way better on TV, but I don't think hitters actually feel the effects of it. I don't think his extension, let's look that up, by the way. I don't think he's got great extension. And I think that's why the arm angle does more justice on TV than it does in person. And sure enough,
they need to have
a
quantifiable stat, by the way, Jake, that shows the perceived velocity. So it combines using like artificial intelligence of when the hitter, given the release point, given the angle that the ball's coming from, and given the movement, right? If you have spin or not. They talk about Trey Savage. It's 96 miles an hour, but you clearly see the 96 blows right by Aaron Judge. Nestor Cortez, 92, 93. When he was going well, his fastball was blowing right by hitters. And we're like, how? Because hitters would tell you, oh, he's hiding the ball. Their spin rate is really high that the Yankees love. Doval's fastball plays like a beach ball changeup. It's insane.
Well, Gary, I mean, this is kind of what I was talking about. Look at the extension. 24th percentile. So it looks really cool on TV, that arm angle, but I'm telling you, it just doesn't do the justice that you think it does watching it on TV, because by the time he's extending, his full extension, they can see that thing. It's not like, here's a good example.
Oh, yeah. Chapman basically hands the ball to the catcher.
Yeah, his extension's insane, which, by the way, it creates the illusion that you have less time than you have.
Correct. Because you quite literally do.
Well, yeah, you do. So I guess it's not really an illusion, but but yeah, like
no, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean it's tough. I mean, like, here's the thing. He's got a funky delivery, right? Mm-hmm. He's got more of a normal throwing motion, believe it or not, than Doval. But that's the thing, is that when you look at that, the extension, it's insane. Like, you don't have a lot of time in general against any of these big league pitchers, but you have a guy that's throwing like 104, somehow, the ageless 38-year-old wonder, is throwing 104. And like you said, it's like he's basically handing the ball back. I think extension has a lot to do with it.
Can you pull up one more thing for me? Can you pull up Mason Miller? Because I just want to see what his extension. He's the most premier fastball pitcher in the game today. I just want to see what his extent. Jesus.
Look at all that blood.
It's insane.
Wow.
But this should show you, at the very least, more times than not, when you see a premier power arm in the game who's successful, their extension is above average more times than not.
This is actually, It's
6'4",
so funny.
6'5", long extension.
I didn't even know the extension thing last year. Remember? I was like, what the hell is this? And I looked into it and I was like, oh, I actually like this. And now I can't really unsee it because, I mean, all right, let's look at Durant, right?
I feel like his extension wouldn't be good, actually. Just on TV, I have no idea what this number's
Okay, you're right. It's not good at all. Boom.
Okay.
So, but this is the point I'm making. Even though he's 6'5", 230, his extension isn't very good. Okay, let's look at Cam Schlittler.
This has got to be good.
Yeah, it's the same as Mason Miller. So you have that. Do they have Yvanni Cruz? Probably not. Nope. They didn't even give my guy a page yet.
He's a creative player.
He's a creative player. All right.
They literally gave us like Uber driver information on him. They didn't give us anything.
That's hilarious.
He drives a white Accord. That is all he's got.
Look at that. They don't even give him a picture. They're just like, here's Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. By the way, Slim Lewis, to address your entire super chat before we take you off here, he says Wells is this year's Volpe, but worse, will they stubbornly stick with him? Yes. Yep. I think it is in their nature to stick with guys unless it's a veteran that makes a lot of money. They've shown to the willingness to get rid of those guys, but they're young players, man. They love lighting up the old cigarette that's off the floor.
Yeah, it's not terrible, Bednar. I feel like Luke Weaver had a really bad extension. And then I'm going to check.
No, David Bednar, the problem with his fastball is he doesn't even use it. That's his problem.
Yeah. Weaver didn't have good extension. And Devin Williams, I don't think, did either, by the way. And he kind of had a funky arm. Oh, nope. I don't know what I'm talking about. Devin Williams has the greatest arm extension.
He's one of the best in terms of arm extension in the game. And the first pitch he features is a changeup, interestingly enough.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Yeah.
But this is cool stuff that obviously we like bringing up because it kind of puts into perspective maybe why a guy is struggling, maybe why a guy is not struggling. Doval, like I said, has a really cool looking sidearm motion on TV that I think does, like I said, more justice on TV than it does going up against it.
Well, Jake, that's probably not going to be fixable, by the way. I mean, what are you going to teach him a new way to throw? I mean,
he could maybe take lessons from Mr. Fantastic to stretch his arms.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Changing the way he throws, I don't know if that's a Matt Blake specialty. That's something else. But Ninja Hot Dog, who was at the game, I did see that you were at the game again. Thank you. So he's been a member for 11 months. We really appreciate all the support. Says happy anniversary. Wait, happy anniversary.
I think he meant to say happy birthday.
Yeah. It's the thought that counts. So he's obviously saying happy birthday to my wife. I really appreciate it. Says, I was there tonight. Sad I waited 2 hours talking about the rain delay for dead ball. Never let Volpe challenge again. That was the pitch I was talking about. Of course, it was horrible. To be fair, I'll give him some slack. It was a side armor. So, I mean, I don't know how much I can give you, but I'm trying. Yovanny did great. Yes, he did. And Judge, an offense needs to wake up. Schlitt should have been taken out quicker. Interesting.
Yeah,
it's the second person we heard from. Yeah, I don't agree. I don't.
I think they kind of failed him. I mean, it was soft contact and he got paper cut to death, essentially.
But we don't have a better option. So Cam in hindsight didn't work. Who would you have put into the baseball game?
They would have put in Ryan Yarbrough. I already know it.
Who was going to be a better choice then? Like, you can say, oh, this guy would have gone to, he's still like a solid arm, but he's not better than Cam Schlittler. So I just want to hear some answers. And then obviously we'll put those on screen. Scott Ross with the 10. We appreciate it. Thank you for the 10. And a lemon says being a closer is 70%. God, I agree with this. And 30% aura. My wife and my mom hate the word aura.
So he's aura farming. Okay.
He's aura farming.
I hate it too, but I'm just going with it now.
I agree with this. And by the way, Scott, to kind of further your point here, isn't that the number one thing that we actually complimented David Bednar on? Either his teammates were saying it about him in Pittsburgh, and what they were saying he was going to be in New York and how he could deal with it here in the Bronx is because of not the stuff, not any of that other stuff, the confidence, right? The bulldog mentality. That's actually the exact verbiage they use. It seemed like Cruz had that type of mentality, and I don't really blame him. He's throwing 103. And he says Cruz seems to have it. Can't get worse. Let's give it a shot. I agree with that. And Goodman would be awesome, but don't think Rocks trade him. Well, they traded us McMahon.
That's true. That is true.
God, do you have any idea how happy Colorado is?
Oh,
a team that doesn't even really want to spend money like that. They got.
I don't even know what Rock Reggio is doing. It doesn't matter because, as far as I'm concerned, he could be hitting. He could have the lowest OPS in the history of the game. It does not matter because they got Ryan McMahon off their books.
Yeah, that's armed robbery at this point.
What is
it's diabolical.
Now I got to look it up.
And Space Noid with the 5. Thank you for the support. Your face just tells it all. Volpe's challenge shows you he literally does not know ball or strikes. A harsh instruction approach to reteach the zone. Only way Volpe survives. I don't really think you can teach the zone. I'm a firm believer that is instinct. You can't teach guys the zone. You can teach them approach, but knowing the strike zone, like I look at a player like Barry Bonds, he's probably the guy. He Juan Soto, right? There's a couple of names that really come to mind that just know the strike zone. I don't think anyone taught them that. I really believe that's just like a God-given ability that you're born with a certain level of vision and a certain understanding of the game. I don't think Juan Soto could sit down. I believe this with Francisco Lindor and talk shop for months on end and be like, this is the zone. This is here. You let this go. You do this. And it would have any effect on Lindor's game. Jake, I just think that's skill.
No, I agree. I've always said vision in all sports is not taught or learned. You're essentially born with it.
Right.
And just look at obviously like with football, the way like you throw with anticipation,
right? You're
throwing to where a guy's going to be or where he's supposed to be, not where he currently is. So you have to time it. You have to throw with timing and anticipation. You have to anticipate where the guy is going to be. And so when he turns around, that ball is hitting his hands as soon as he turns around. That's something that I just don't think you can teach. You also can't teach vision as a running back either. I was
just going to say, who do you think's the best running back of all time? Can you give me an answer, straight answer?
I mean, I think it's probably Barry Sanders.
Do you think Barry Sanders could sit down with the average running back in the NFL today and be like, hey, this is what I saw, and then they immediately become a Hall of Fame level of vision? Do you think is that feasible?
I mean, no. Like you see feasible. Like some of the things Barry Sanders did, and you know what's so funny is I actually don't think so. I always say it's him or Falk, and I always say Marshall Falk because he had the best vision I think I've ever seen. Like Barry Sanders would run around and make it like college football and would just Marshall Falk had incredible vision. And that's just one of those things is that you have to see it. Another thing, I go back and I remember when Lonzo Ball was coming out of UCLA and people were like, he sees the floor. He sees it like Magic Johnson saw it. And I'm not saying I would agree with that, but he did see the floor very well. And when
you could clearly tell there was a difference between what Lonzo Ball saw and what the average guy who calls himself a point guard coming out of the draft in the NBA sees. They're making rookie turnovers, whereas Lonzo Ball, it felt like the game was going slow. And I want to also because you don't need to super chat to get on the screen every time. I want you also to expand on this point, Space. He says, I personally think he has a terrible eye, but I agree to disagree with some of you guys. So you'd hope that at some point he can get some help on laying off these pitches based on, vector. But so I guess I hear exactly what you're saying. Mm-hmm. You want some of the skill and some of the approach to rub off, right? And to some degree, Jake, to be fair to Space here, we brought Juan Soto over. We said, okay, you're going to hit 2, Judge is going to hit 3, whatever have you. We talked about how Judge and his approach is going to positively impact guys like Cabrera, right? A lot of the young players we had on the roster at that point, we started to see the uptick in on-base percentage. Whether or not Soto was teaching them something, I'm a firm believer that you can't just teach someone something that's instinct, but I will say I felt like what Soto brought in 2024 was contagious. And
If
you want to call it having taught someone else,
we
that
both
skill,
thought that.
I just thought it was contagious.
Said it so many times. Doesn't it feel like the approach with this team is different since they added Juan Soto? We said it from day one. We were talking about it day 70. I mean, it's one of those things. I thought Volpe early on, it just felt like players took what Juan Soto was doing. They marveled at him. Like, he wasn't just a teammate at the beginning of the year. He was something that, like, I've never seen before. I'm going to literally soak up all the knowledge that guy has, learn what he does, what he doesn't do. And he was essentially helping some of these young cats out. And
he actually does, Jake, kind of what we were saying that Judge is kind of refusing to do. Aaron Judge is the better hitter. All right, we'll yield to that, no question. But Juan Soto is also a little bit more willing to have that ugly, right, Cody Bellinger type slap single where he brings out the wedge and slaps the ball the other way. It's not a sexy approach. It's just not. He's going to get his home runs. He's going to hit probably 600, 650 homers for his career in Juan Soto. But how many of those hits that he's going to have? I mean, he may go down with 2,500, 3,000 hits when it's all said and done. Not every one of them is going to look very sexy. That's the type of player that he's really proven to be. And obviously that was the reason why we said he probably should have stayed with the Yankees, but he made his choice. And you see the type of professional at bat that he does have. That is something that is absolutely a pro, in his stock.
He's got one of the best swings I've ever seen.
Oh God. Yeah. And Stockton, Jake did put this in our comment section. He did star it. Stockton Rush, really appreciate it. Says, I've been watching you guys since 2024. Literally my favorite channel on all of YouTube. First time I've gotten the chance to leave a comment. Thank you guys for all your coverage over the last few years. Stockton, we really appreciate all the support.
Appreciate you, man.
And again, guys, we do our absolute best to get live chats like Stockton, for example, and Space Noid. We want to have a real baseball conversation where you can be wrong, you can be right, and actually learn from what you're saying. This isn't Twitter. This isn't Threads. This is not the Instagram and TikTok where the first person to blurt out the right answer is king. This isn't the popularity contest and prom king. That stuff, we left that in the past. Jake, you and I started the show because we were sick of that approach. We were tired of oh my God, these guys don't know ball. He sucks. He's an idiot. He's a moron. We were tired of that. And we were tired of it felt like immature, and not all 18 to 20-year-olds are immature, but the most loudmouth 18 to 20-year-olds you'll ever find just dominating the conversation and making it feel like that's reality for all Yankees fans. It's not. So we started this podcast to bring people in of all ages who want to have their opinions heard, that on one day you feel like, oh, I just vomited out the best possible take ever. And the next day it might be the worst take ever. And you can just be like, yeah, that take sucked. And no one's going to care. They just move on. So yeah, Stockton, we really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And we want to have you back. I'm assuming we will, since we've had you for multiple years now. So thank you for that. And back to, this is not a super chat, but it is a chat from one of our members in Hyde. Thank you for the last 7 months as well. It's been surprisingly long amount of time. Oh, is he saying since he's been here? Or what is he saying here?
I think so, but I don't know for sure. So we'll just go with that. And if it's something else, then definitely let us know in the comment section. But we appreciate you.
Yeah. And Jersey Girl, thank you for the 5. Says, concerned with Rodon tonight on the bump, obviously talking about tomorrow. Says, Jay's going to work deep counts and wear him down. Hope bullpen is ready to go. Also, let me say again, Wells is a bum.
Yeah, I'm seeing a split series, Gary. I don't think the Yankees win tomorrow. When Rodon's on the mound, I don't have confidence that they're going to win. Until he's figured it out, I will not feel confident in any start that he takes.
How do you see the start going? Because he's a guy who, when he has success, more times than not in Rodon, he's missing bats. Everything that we watched today, all the evidence points to the Jays are going to have pesty, ugly, annoying, obnoxious at bats, and I love them for that. But it doesn't help my Yankees go win a baseball game. I see a lot of contact being made tomorrow and a lot of foul balls for Carlos Rodon, and that's not good for his game plan. I see a run-up pitch count by the 4th inning. What's your prediction for tomorrow? Do you feel like it's just going to be a scrappy ton of contact? Or do you feel like Rodon's going to miss some bats, but he's going to give up some pop the way he did a couple years ago. What do you see for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the last time he saw this team, his ERA shot up to 23.14. So I don't exactly feel great about that.
Wait, hold on a second. Was that 2023 or 2024? No, it's 2023, correct?
No, like in the playoffs.
Oh my God.
So
what was his ERA total for the playoffs? Was it that?
Oh, I don't have that in front of me at this current moment, but he's got a 4.72 ERA against the Blue Jays first career.
That for us, please, so we can put you up on the screen. We want to give everyone credit for any of the research you do. Let us know what Rodon did. I'd like to know what Rodon did. Did he pitch twice in that series, Jake?
No, only one game. He lasted 2 1/3 innings pitched. He had 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a 23 ERA.
It's difficult to strike out Jays hitters. That's the point. They do that intentionally.
Historically, in 9 games pitched, he has 47 2/3 innings. He's 2-3 with a 4.72 ERA, 54 strikeouts, and 21 walks. A lot of walks. So this is what I would say, looking at the career. He has some pretty good numbers against these guys. I mean, he's shut down Davis Schneider. He shut down Miles Straw. Ernie Clement really hasn't done a lot. Varsho, he's done some things, but it's only been 7 plate appearances. Really has kept George Springer in check, aside from the 2 home runs. But that's 31 plate appearances, hitting 192. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is hitting 588 in 21 plate appearances and a 1,600 OPS. So
and Vladdy Jr.
he should be walked intentionally every single at bat tomorrow.
How many homers is Vladdy Jr.? He's in a power spell right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I believe he has like 4 homers, 3, something like that. He's not hitting home runs.
Jose Caballero has more home runs than him right now.
Right, and it's going to get back to the usual. I mean, that's what happens with most players. They just revert back to the average of themselves.
But also, Vladdy focuses more on getting hits now. Like, he's got 3 home runs on the year. I don't think that this is necessarily a shock. I think this is from somebody that has definitely taken the strides to be more of a contact hitter. I mean, say what you will, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he had 48 home runs, then he had 32, then 26, then 30, and then last year he had 23. That's just...
So are you saying that Fernando Tatis Jr., he also has hit 0 home runs this year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like if a player like Tatis Jr. or Vladdy Jr., I have a feeling what your answer is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
If there's basically a huge absence of power, like if Vladdy Jr. hits, say, 14 home runs this year, 14, that's a low number for him, no question. Is it already, no matter what you've seen, is it a bad season? Because we're going to get a whole bunch of different answers, right? He's a $500 million player. This style works in October. Do you think it's bad hitting if Vladdy Jr. doesn't hit home runs in the regular season?
Well, I mean, if he's going to have a 741 OPS, I don't love that. It's not good. But I mean, if I'm getting slugging, if I'm getting on base percentage, if I'm getting average, right? He's hitting the ball. I don't care how many home runs you get. Like I said, I've said, home runs are the most exciting play in baseball. They just are. But that said, home runs are overrated because we've talked about it. They go goo goo gaga over a 21 home run Austin Wells. There's 162 games.
This is it.
There's 162 games in a season.
Yeah.
So you can copy and paste the 21 home runs all over the schedule across 21 games, however you'd like. But what doesn't count for is you could also have a few of those games have 2 home runs in them. So he might not even hit a home run in 21 games out of 162. And yet here we are like, did you see? He had 21 home runs.
Jake, I did the math. It means you hit a home run in 12% of games.
Which, by the way, this goes back to my point with Prize Picks, who is the sponsor of today's video.
Shout out to them.
Here's my point. You know how a few times you're like, we should go judge home run. This is why I don't. I don't do it. Because think about it. People literally will throw tons of money on home runs. And what was the number you just gave us?
The statistic is in Austin Wells, the season that you said was actually serviceable enough to like surrender that he just is not a very good baseball player, but will allow it. He hit 21 home runs. That is a home run in 12% of games.
12%, right?
Basically meaning one of every 10 games, roughly, the guy is going to hit a home run. The rest of the time, he's probably just walking. No, it's not. It's not any good.
That's not good. So
totally overrated.
my thing is, right, people will be like, they'll throw money down home runs because they're like, he has a really good matchup today, and he's due. I'm just feeling it.
He's due.
Hey, like, Gary, if you just keep doing that, you might run out of money. But at some point, if you just keep doing it, he's due. You're going to hit one, right? It's just, I don't know if it's going to make up for all the money you lost along the way.
Well, statistically speaking, it never does.
Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like if Vladimir, hear me out when I say this. He has 3 home runs right now. If he hit 12 this year, but had an OPS of around 1,000 and hit 330.
So he's Michael Young.
Yeah, like if he did that, that's a great season. I would go as far as to say, you know what? It'd be his best season of his career. Not the season he had 48 home runs. Do you know why? Because if he had over 1,000 OPS and, you know, the season I'm talking about 330, that would literally be a career high for him.
So basically what you're saying is the player also, I think you'd also agree with this. The player that would have, let's just say even Jake, a 9-10 ops. That's incredible. So I know we're spoiled. We see Aaron Judge, we see Ohtani, we see Acuna Jr., and we're like, oh, 1,200. It's not normal. If Vladdy Jr. had an ops of 860, right? Still great. Awesome. But he hit 13 home runs. People would be like, oh, this player over here, like, for example, the big dumper over in Seattle, there's people in the postseason of last year who'd be like, oh, I would much rather have a player who hits 60 plus home runs taken at bat for me in October. I'd much rather have the player who hits 295, who's got some level of pop, right? He's got power in there, but he has an ability to adjust much easier to postseason pitching. There's a reason why this should come as no surprise to anyone. Anytime you talk about a player who gets red hot in October, they're almost never a pure power bat. It's rare that the guy with 55 homers or the guy with 46 home runs, right? Very rarely are they the guy who gets red hot. And that's because of style of play really
it's surface level thinking, by the way. If you're like, I picked 60 home runs up and I put them down. Like, that's how people were when they were talking about the MVP. And you could tell the people who actually knew ball. And I'm saying there are people that surprised me and really knew ball and still took Cal Raleigh. So I'm not going to sit here and say everyone that took Cal Raleigh doesn't know ball. But, Carrie, the arguments that were made were just so bad. It's like, well, he's got 60 home runs and he plays catcher. Like, we've never seen that before. MVP. And it's like, it's the same people who just constantly are like, blank check. Just pay him a blank check. It's like, you can't just pay, you can't give somebody a blank check. There has to be an actual monetary value of the contract. You can't just say blank check.
And what they provide you. Like, you have to look at what they provide.
As a joke, right?
Yes.
We're like, give Bellinger a blank check, right? Give, Kyle Tucker a blank check. We've said that. But there are people that are serious. Like, no, there's no money. There's no money that's not enough. Like, but that's my thing. It's that, like, surface level thinking where you're going to take home runs, which I've used this argument so many times, but I think really when it came to me where I started really believing in this was last year when people wanted to trade away Spencer Jones and Cam Schlittler and potentially Ben Rice and go after Suarez. And I said, Eugenio Suarez, you're not getting to, like, cash in those 40-plus home runs. This isn't like for WWE fans out there. This isn't the Money in the Bank match where you win the contract in the briefcase and you can just cash in for a world title shot whenever you want. You don't just get to store 40 home runs and spread them out whenever you want them. Those are gone. Those are on his stat sheet. They're on the back of his baseball card, Gary, but you don't get those 40 home runs. You might not even get 10 home runs. And sure enough, Suarez barely hit home runs the rest of the year. He wasn't really good.
40 home runs it's a lot of home runs in the totality of the season, right? In the macro. But when you're talking about what are the odds that a 40 home run hitter hits a home run in this given game, I mean, you could just do the math from Austin Wells. Austin Wells hit 21. So you do the math of it. Eugenio Suarez is hitting a home run, what is it, every 6 games? So you might go into a series where you play 4 or 5 games, 5-game series, and you go back on the road where Suarez will hit 0 home runs. Well, outside of the home runs, what does he do? He gives you poor defense. He might go into a series and give you 0 home runs. You are who you are most of the time. You're average at bat. Suarez wasn't giving you any productive outs. He wasn't doing any of the little things, any of the grimy at bats that we talked about. This is why, guys, home runs are the most overrated stat in the game today. And there was actually a comment that I wanted to put up there that I just thought was so perfect. It just is straight out of our live chat. And we'll get back to our supers. Brian, we really appreciate it. Jersey Girl as well. And Donald, Jake, take a look at this. The Rambo says the power hitter evolved into a contact hitter. That is exactly what we're saying. The most valuable players in today's game, they're not technically just contact hitters. They're guys that are, you would say, are contact first who have power. Those are the most valuable players. Just the same way, Jake, is in the NFL. I think the most valuable players in the NFL are the quarterbacks that can beat you they are built to beat you from the pocket, but can run. Matthew Stafford, right? Patrick Mahomes. All of the players that you would say are elite quarterbacks that can actually go win something in the NFL today, they're not run-first quarterbacks. They are guys who can run. Same goes in Major
Stafford can run in the same way that you and I can run, but
that's fair. But
no,
the point is he can move and beat you outside the pocket.
He can.
He never intentionally goes outside the pocket. He's not doing that. His intention is to beat you from the pocket. Whereas
totally
in the NFL and in college football, they're like, oh, wait till this dude who just runs. He's running a blaze. He ran for 150 yards as a quarterback, and he has a cannon. In the NFL, you're going to have to show you can beat him with your arm first and use your runs as a last resort. Whereas Lamar Jackson's like, I'm going to beat you with your legs. Same goes for baseball. In baseball, if your number one plan of attack is I'm going to beat you with the power game and contact is just on the back burner, you're not going to be a productive hitter when it matters against good pitching. Take it from this Savage game against Cam Schlittler. The Jays did marginally, honestly, hardly anything more than what the Yankees did today offensively. Really. A lot of soft contact, some bunts. But the Jays stylistically are the emergency. What do we do in an emergency? I'm going to drop down a bunt. I'm going to slap a ball and see if Austin Wells and Goldie make this play. It's not the best, the sexiest thing ever. This is the emergency call and plays that they have in store for the Yankees. And the Yankees, if you look at Austin Wells here, how many times is Cal Rowley and Austin Wells going to do those grinder things? Obviously, Cal Rowley hits enough home runs last year where you don't ask him to do those things. It's totally valid. Austin Wells, on the other hand, when he's not hitting a home run, he is quite literally beyond useless to your team.
He has 5
he can't
RBIs,
do any of those things. How many games have we played? 37 he's played? He's played 37.
Yeah.
He has 5 ribbies. And his WAR is 0.1. And that is
a higher WAR than Raleigh. It's hilarious. By the way, his OPS, insane. The fact that this is actually a comparable chart here is scary. This is insane.
And Omar, you're exactly correct. So I appreciate you bringing all those numbers. All I'm telling you guys is that you see this from Eddie. The Jays came out of the game with extended at-bats, lots of 2-strike foul balls. Notice how Eddie said nothing about making hard contact. Nothing. He didn't say anything about that. That's because it's intentional in their game plan. That is the I can run, so I'll do it from time to time. That's what the Jays are. If they hit home runs, they like hitting homers. They hit a lot of home runs. But they're the type of guys who they have a different dimension that, Jake, we've been complimenting for over a year.
This is true. This is very true. Brian Bashman. I would rather have Rick Cerrone than Austin Wells. Not even 82 Cerrone. I'll take 82-year-old Cerrone over Wells.
I hate you guys.
I was not ready for that. Appreciate
No,
you,
did
Brian.
you see by the way, did you see the live chat earlier where someone said Anthony Volpe should catch? It would actually be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny.
You know what's kind of funny when you
What's
really
up?
think about it? No one wants to go this route. You kind of have to pick your battles. There's no perfect solution because what's going on at the position of catcher.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the best option is to play Ben Rice. He might drop off marginally offensively, but Ben Rice behind the plate it makes you a better team.
Oh, my concern, by the way, is an offensive drop-off. My concern is the exponential growth and risk of injury at catcher. I don't think it has anything to do.
I don't know if they have a choice. I don't know if they have a choice, Gary. It's been 50 games. Keep in mind, Boone didn't say, I'm never going to play Ben Rice at catcher again. He said, I'm not ready to play him there this early in the season.
Which, based on that, says I very well could do it, but it's just later, meaning we're going to do it at the end.
Yeah. So the way I see it is and this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he needs to play catcher right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is in the postseason, he should.
Oh, I just hate it. I don't like it. I don't want it.
There's no perfect situation, but the Yankees...
I just trade for a catcher who's just
Here's the
average.
problem. The Yankees literally put all the eggs in the proverbial Austin Wells basket, and he didn't work out. I mean, maybe he does 2 years from now. I don't know, but he's not working out. So
he won't.
So here's the thing, Gary. If we're talking postseason, why not Ben Rice? Days off, not a lot of games. You can bolster that lineup because now if Ben Rice is playing catcher, I can put Bellinger at first or I could put Paul Goldschmidt at first. It just makes your lineup significantly better. So I'm not at all saying that he should play every single day. But in the postseason, that's really what they should do. Because think about this. As much as you don't like it, well, do you like watching Austin Wells more? Or would you rather, have Ben Rice in at catcher and have, like I said, you can move Bellinger there, add Jason Dominguez to the outfield, or you could have Paul Goldschmidt in the lineup. My point here is that when push comes to shove in October, they're probably going to need to go this route. Unless they go out and get somebody, because Austin Wells, you think he's bad now? Wait until it's cold, Gary. Wait until it's October. Wait until his bat path. Everyone is staring at this across the globe in the World Series, and it's Austin Wells at catcher. And you're going up against the Dodgers, and you're facing Shohei Ohtani, and you're facing Yamamoto. You're going to wish that the Yankees just went with Ben Rice. So I don't think Ben Rice is enough of a negative behind the plate defensively to shoot this down. And I do think that Austin Wells is this bad where you have to consider this as a legitimate option. Now, doesn't mean they can't go and get Jeffers, doesn't mean they can't go and get Goodman by the postseason. But the point I'm making is right now, as the roster is constructed, the best option for the Yankees when push comes to shove late in October is, in Ben Rice at catcher. Just is.
I don't do it. I don't even think I play Ben Rice at catcher even in the postseason. I just think that the solution for the Yankees is so simple that right now I would probably say the best thing about the Yankees right now is what Cam Schlittler's doing first and foremost on the mound. The second thing is the fact that Ben Rice is our best player, and it's not even close. He's our best baseball player. He's actually playing pretty good defense over at first base. And I'm not telling you that I don't want Rice at catcher for the point of we take a step back defensively. I couldn't give a rip about the defense behind the plate if Ben Rice is my catcher offensively. My literal only concern is, you're talking about foul ball. When you see a foul ball off of Austin Wells' kneecap and they're like, oh, he needs a second. He needs a little break here. Trainer's going to come out, take a look at him. My heart doesn't drop a second. Not even for a moment. Nothing. I don't feel anything because nothing's at risk, right? I want that to stay the same. And I don't want it to stay the same with Austin Wells. I think he's horrible. I think JC Escara is horrible. However, the Yankees can just trade for a catcher, and the catcher doesn't have to be Jeffers. The catcher doesn't have to be JT Realmuto to be a massive upgrade. I believe Austin Wells is that bad of a baseball player that you can go out there and spin the wheel and get a catcher, a random catcher across baseball, and that player off of any team that is playing losing baseball and keen on making a trade right now, they'd go give us their catcher and the Yankees would be massively improved.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Right.
I agree with you. But I'm saying
I'm not like
the way this roster's constructed, you would play Austin Wells a catcher in the postseason?
Yep.
Okay, so Austin Wells, it has a
in the postseason. No, you're talking about postseason baseball.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Yeah, so you're talking about postseason baseball. We're 5 months from that. So it's like, we're having to figure out now.
My whole point was that if you're like, because you can't play Ben Rice every day, right? Mm-hmm. The whole argument is that, he can get hurt. It's a lot of wear and tear.
Mm-hmm. It is, yep.
How is it a lot of wear and tear if I'm just playing him late in the year?
No, it's not wear and tear. We all agree.
That was my entire point, though, because
so if your entire point is postseason baseball only, then Ben Rice should catch for sure.
Yeah, Austin Wells hitting 153 in the postseason. That's in 21 games. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty decent sample size. He's got a 218 on base, 250 slugging, and a 468 OPS. So not that far off from what he's doing right now. So here's the thing. That's some of the worst. That's some of the worst numbers I've ever seen in my life in any sport, any split, anything. That's his postseason numbers, Gary. I just like the way I see this roster. Obviously, you would hope that they're going to go and they're going to get somebody, but I mean, I think, and to Devin's point here, like, okay, yeah, he'd be rusty. I would start in September. I would literally make him my primary catcher in September, and I would, rev him up in the postseason.
Does he really need a rev up process? I mean, I understand Devin's point completely. I get it, and it's a valid point to make. Mm-hmm. Having said that, it's not like Austin Wells is freaking Johnny Bench behind the plate. He's a good framer. He's not a good catcher. I don't care what anybody says. He's not a good catcher. He's not. He's not a great thrower. You're sitting there talking about blocking. How often does blocking become a factor in today's game? Are you kidding me?
Everyone's going station to station. Cruz isn't on the mound, you don't need to block anything.
But what are we sitting here talking about? It's like, and people are going to overestimate what I'm saying. Be like, oh my God, he's saying that no one needs to block.
Oh God, get ready for it. You're going to get emails and DMs anytime.
Oh, certainly. And it's like, honestly, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, who cares what those goons have to say? You're sitting here talking about Ben Rice is just going to stand back there, put your glove out, and you're going to set up in a certain location and they're going to make pitches. And it's as simple as that. We've already seen what it looks like. I hear exactly what Devin's saying. Austin Wells sucks. And the fact that he's as bad as he is, Ben Rice can just show up with no reps whatsoever. And his offense is so much better that we can get a net negative defensively from Ben Rice during the postseason. And it is such a positive for what is unlocked for the Yankees on bringing another offensive option at first base in Paul Goldschmidt or whoever else, whether you bring Cody Bellinger in at first. There are a ton of different options that the Yankees can go with and deploy to be a better baseball team. It's completely nonsensical. But as far as the regular season, Brian Cashman has a clear job to do. Trade for a catcher. Don't bring up some catcher. Trade for the catcher and then get rid of these two and bring in the catcher that you had in the minor leagues in Henry and let him be the backup.
I agree.
It's that simple. It doesn't need to be Pudge. It doesn't need to be some all-time great catcher. Give us league average and spare me on the pitch framing. spare me on, oh, he calls a great game. No. Our rotation is good. It's not Austin Wells. The players are going to say otherwise. He's their teammate. I get it. But this isn't that. Austin Wells is a negative for the New York Yankees, and folks are going to wait around for Austin Wells to hit a home run in some random game this year and be like, see, you gave up on Austin Wells. I don't care what he does in one game or one series. Why do they
sound like Goofy?
See, do you see? That's why you don't give up on players. I'm like, no, this is why you
How
analyze
often is
players.
That tweeted, by the way?
Oh,
that
this player
copied
did one
and
thing
pasted
good.
Down to the absolute detail.
Any comment on Trent Grisham, who hit 2 home runs today? I'm like, yeah, I do. He's hitting 150.
Dude,
have you ever seen anyone who has had an in-depth conversation about baseball ever have that to say? Do you have anything to say about this? I'm like, you're not worth talking to at all.
Yeah, I know. How many games are there? 162? Yeah. So you're telling me out of one of those games, Trent Grisham did something worth his salt. Okay.
And this goes for every baseball player in America. If you play in Major League Baseball and you watch, I mean, you can take your pick. The worst player on any team, they're going to do something. You just have to wait long enough. Austin Wells is going to do something. We just got to wait.
Francisco, what's Cervelli doing nowadays? Bring back Austin Romine. Yeah. I'll never forget
Romine fighting Miguel Cabrera. You remember that?
Oh my God. I still can't believe we're at the point where, as scrutinized as Anthony Volpe was, and man, we went in on Anthony Volpe last year, and rightfully so. Yep. Austin Wells is astronomically worse.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, it's not even, Gary, it's not even close. Not even close. Oh, yeah. I don't think Anthony Volpe's ever hit this poorly.
As an offensive player, I agree with you. I think Volpe was the worst overall player because Volpe was playing short. And I believe still to this day, as much as they say catcher's important, I don't believe it's nearly as important as shortstop. The ball's at short all day, every day. If your shortstop is a bad player, especially late in games defensively, I thought Volpe was not only the worst baseball player in 2025, not only the worst player for the Yankees, I thought he was the worst player in the league. I believe that.
And it's kind of crazy. The Yankees had this guy, Carlos Narvaez. They trade him to the Red Sox to get ERC. And he had a 2.6 WAR last year for the Red Sox, hit 241, 726 OPS. Really good, right? This year, 217, a 624 OPS, and that would be leaps and bounds better than what they currently have. It's kind of crazy when you think about it like that.
I mean, you're just right. Well, there's not any remix really to that. It's just a lot better. Jersey Girl with the 2 says, call up Peyton Henry. Hey, just mention him. But Jersey Girl, really appreciate the super. I don't disagree with you. I just don't want him starting every day. Bring in a league average catcher.
People saying Luis Torrens, I'd push back on. He is not good. I know he was on the Yankees. He is.
What did you used to say? Hashtag not good. You remember you used to say that all the time?
Hashtag not good, yeah. 194 batting average, 250 on base, 284 slugging, and a 534 OPS. He's basically Austin Wells.
Yeah, Austin Wells just has a slugging of 250. I don't even know how that's possible, man.
I don't get it, man. Well, thank you for the bat path. Get this guy glasses. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know, man. His bat path looks like it's straight to the stands. Like if he ever makes contact, he's hitting square. You'd think when he made contact, it'd be for power. It's just somehow not.
I don't like, by the way, you see the stance. He's definitely changed. Like he had more of a closed stance back. I went back and I looked, and when he was hitting in August and July of 2024. He had a more closed stance. This one is like he's got his leg in the dugout. You know what I mean? Like it's like not quite on the level of our guy Spencer Jones.
I knew it,
but it's I don't understand that. Like I don't know what they're thinking, what they're teaching him, and I don't want to take the blame off him. But I also just think they have, as Ed W. I love this, by the way. Ed W. called James Rowson a swinging coach, and he's not a hitting coach.
By the way, have you seen that little machine that they have? I don't know where it's at, but everyone's heard of it, right? It's that little circular device, right? Where you can hold the club and it basically brings you around what is considered a perfect golf swing. Okay.
Oh, I need that.
I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but it's basically a way to like, oh, wow, interesting. It's not where I would have brought it, but you can feel exactly what it's supposed to be. It shallows out the exact spot you're supposed to.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
I just bought one. No, I'm kidding.
I feel like Austin Wells should just go watch tape and just say, what was I doing in August of 2024? And then just take a snapshot of what my stance looked like, what my swing looked like, what type of takes I had, what type of swing choices I made. Just watch it. And I'm sure he's doing that to some level, but your stance should also be an indication that you're looking at your strengths and then playing to them. Why would your stance be different when it's never worked in any other way? You should be standing exactly what was working. And if you're trying to make a change, there needs to be positive evidence to justify the change. Aaron Judge only changes his stance, and we've seen him change his stance before when he struggles. He doesn't change his stance when he's playing well.
No. Well,
we've seen Bryce Harper change his stance 10 times.
So let me show you this.
He only changes it when he's not playing well.
This is from July of 2024. Okay. Mm-hmm. I just want to show this because this kind of puts it in perspective. Except for the fact you can't see it.
This is sad. Omar said maybe he lost circulation in his hand again. Oh my God.
Does that look like the same Austin Wells? That
what seems different is actually the first thing I noticed. Now, mind you, it could be the same. Just what I'm seeing. It feels like his arms and his load of his hands are in a different spot. Do his hands look like they're in a different position here?
Yeah, I mean, his leg is in a completely different position.
His legs are, for sure. That's definitely noticeable.
Because I'm going to show you, I mean, this was April, right? So let's see here.
First thing I notice are his hands. If that's different at all, I'd be interested to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
today.
let me, of course, I clicked on the cinematic one from the side angle. Like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm trying to do a side-by-side here. And all right, so this is interesting. Obviously, it's a different camera angle to understand this. But look at now. This is 2026.
Look, guys, look at his arms.
It's like I don't understand why he's lining. So this, I thought this was like Giambi-esque. I love Giambi's stance. This is like Jason Giambi.
Yes, come on. It's exactly Jason Giambi. It's exactly where his hands are. His hands are in a completely different direction.
And then this is like, who taught him this?
Guys. Are you kidding me?
I think this is honestly... See, Rowson has to be somewhat responsible for this. You have to take your player's side and be like, this sucks, brother. What are you doing? I don't know. And you know what? I still don't think this does it justice. So I want to see.
Can you zoom in on this by chance?
Yeah, it's a video. So that's the only thing.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, you'd have to take a screenshot and then zoom. No. Hell no. Guys, tell me. Okay, I just want you to take a freeze frame of what his hands look like here. Now, mind you, I'm going to tell you what they are. His hands are behind his body, okay? He's rapping. Now, his hands are behind his body. Can you possibly, Jake, bring it back? And Donald, thank you for the super chat in the 2. Says, Wells has 3 options. Send him down to fix it. Do you see how his hands are no longer behind his head? You can see his hands. I'm telling you guys, it changes. You see Eddie here saying his swing is too long. I'm telling you, it changes your bat path. I'm not a hitting expert. I'm just telling you, if you take a picture of the best hitters in the game, interesting enough, he looks like Max Muncy there in a freeze frame. That's pretty funny. But you cannot.
But look at this.
Change your stance.
Massive step, load step. Look at this.
Correct. Yep.
Oh Why did he
look at that, man?
Why do you
look at that?
This is July.
Is that Jason Giambi or are you showing me Wells?
It's literally Jason Giambi. I wanted to remind you guys, this is July of 2024. This is back when Austin Wells was the best. Why the hell did they just tinker with his? I don't get it. I really don't get it. We're trying to do this in a way that we don't get copyright claimed because we can't show the video. But so what you're seeing here, let's do. I don't know if it's really going to show you a lot, but this is the swing. This is a home run. He hit this April 28th. And then
it's like an artifact, an ancient artifact at this point.
I know. And then this, I guess I'm trying to see like what's the difference between these two, because somehow they look kind of similar. But actually, it makes a lot of sense, Gary. So it goes back to what we were talking about, how like motions and batting stances are entirely to put yourself in position, the best position possible, to have your mechanics exactly where you need them, everything in the right spot so you can make consistent contact. So I think what's happening is this. I look at we go back to this one. I understand it's not the best angle because Texas loves their overhead. I don't know why. Their broadcast angle's weird. But it shows you that it's pretty much, even though they started off in a different position, Gary, look, I mean, it's pretty similar.
So technically speaking, by changing your stance into something that you have no evidence works for you in the long term, you're essentially playing around by saying, I can still get into the position that works. The problem is
you're not going to do it
frequency.
As much.
The frequency of how I can do it is going to change. That's the whole point of a batting stance, right? Though if you have a bat waggle, the only reason you would have a bat waggle is because you've identified as a baseball player, just for you personally, it helps you personally get into position more likely than not. And if it doesn't, you change your batting stance.
So then
Austin Wells has done this for some reason.
So obviously this is 2026.
Yes.
Here is 2025. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go back. What do you see here? So
you want me to tell you who I see? A player who's not in as strong of a position as a hitter as he was in the image that we showed when he was hitting well. The image that you're showing me now, do you remember what Brian McCann looked like when he was playing for the Yankees and he was crouched over and he was looking ridiculous at the plate? Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's what this stance is. Do you see how strong he looks there?
He looks like a power hitter there. He looks like somebody that is going to ruin your day. Okay?
Correct.
And then the next year, by the way, this is July 8th. Okay? When this picture right here that you see, July 13th. Of 2024. Okay. This right here is July 8th of 2025.
Do you see how he's not strong in his stance? Just standing there, he's not strong, right?
And then this is 2026.
He looks stronger there, right?
He does.
He looks stronger, but it's still not to the level that you saw at the beginning. And his hands are in a completely different position.
We don't have the rights to interview the we're going to interview footage. No, we don't have the rights to display the footage, but that's why we're doing I'm just strategically stopping the video off screen. So
by 2027, Austin Wells' arms are going to be off the screen. It'll be by Globe Life Field up there.
So here again, this is July of 2024. There's the load step.
Carbon copy of Jason Giambi.
I know.
Of the load.
I love that. I actually hate that he went away from that because it's not even just like that. I think it's actually hurt him, but that also looks like a way more fun baseball player to watch. You notice how he just doesn't look that fun to watch? Like this brought me back. I remember feeling like Austin Wells was always going to do damage at the plate. That's how I used to feel back in July, August. in 2024.
I feel like you convincing me that Wells is going to be good is like I was convinced of a timeshare in Vegas.
Oh,
I don't know
God.
if you've done that. You go to Las Vegas and you go into your hotel and someone's like, "Hey man, I'm going to just stop you right for 1 second. I'm going to talk to you about this timeshare," and then people get scammed. I was scammed.
On that note, July 2025. Look at the step.
Oh my God, he looks like he looks like oh my God.
I think this is the worst iteration of his stance by far. He looks
awful. Like he's trying to just scrape the ball at that point.
Yeah, this is awful. And then
timeshare unloaded.
Oh my God. Love that. And then this is what you get now.
Oh my! It looks like he's just trying to like slap it with a noodle.
Well, it looks like he's about to take off with the bat down first base line.
I know, man. It looks like he's just gonna. You know what it looks like? If you took a freeze frame and you said, "Hey, if you don't know who the hitter is, can you go back to the other frame?"
Yes.
If you didn't know who the hitter was at all, you'd be like, "What is this guy trying to do here? What do you think he did on this pitch?" You'd be like, "Oh, I think he sprayed it. If he hit it at all, he sprayed it to left field for like a knock."
Yeah.
That'd be your guess. Like his goal was on that pitch. Now, if you go back to the previous picture that you showed, Jake, that picture, it looks like at least the objective is to drive the ball. It looks like he's strong.
Looks intimidating.
Correct.
He actually looks like, a legitimate home run hitter. And then this is the worst. I can't believe.
I agree with you.
There's a professional hitting coach that had him doing that. I don't get it. And then
he does look like he's running to first base. He's gonna Ichiro.
And
you're right. The position that he eventually gets into is very similar. We're not saying his swing doesn't suck. He's just not able to get into position often enough, which is the definition of what a good hitter is, by the way. Oh my God, look at this.
It's just that, that's wow. There's so much more drive in this swing. And this is what bothers me, by the way, because I'm not trying to defend Austin Wells here. He's made his own bed, but at the same time, there is blame on the development. How does he go from this to this the next year? That's not even... and then like 2026, it looks like they've probably worked on it a little. They've definitely worked on it. This is better, right? That's 2025 Wells, by the way. I know 2026, the numbers don't really show it. 2025 Wells is the worst iteration of Wells from a video standpoint. And then
that's fair.
You got the follow through. So you got that.
Can you believe how stupid copyright claims are? Like they're like, "Oh wait, we don't want anyone to play our video." I'm like, nobody wants to watch your video anyway.
And then Ridiculous. That's 2026. Interesting.
He doesn't have a bad swing. He has a poor ability to get into position that he has to get into, just as every other hitter has to get into. And mind you, if he heard this, if our hitting coach heard this, they'd be like, "Oh, these guys think they're hitting experts now." No, we're actually telling you, and anyone could tell you this. This is what your hitter, take your pick, looked like when he was playing well, and this is what he looks like now when he's consistently played poorly. You can take information from any player in their career and show them film of what it looked like while it was working, and they should most resemble that version of themselves. If they're not at least attempting to do that, they're failing themselves. And I can understand why it's easier said than done to try and get back to the positioning stance-wise, load-wise that you used to be in, because you want to improve, not just be the same player you were in 2024. But the version that he was, Jake, that we were complimenting him on, that wasn't a bad baseball player.
No.
It wasn't everything we wanted, but it was a much better version of Austin Wells than he is today. This just looks like the current version of himself is a dude who's just slapping at the ball. And he's really supposed to be a 20 home run guy who hits 225. That's who he's supposed to be.
I got one more I want to show you. It's his 2023.
Okay.
So he ended up hitting a home run in September. They called him up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a great view of it because, I don't know, they did some stupid thing in between. So this is his load step in 2023. Okay. I have to move to a different view because I don't
Hands are just lower.
I don't want to get copyright claims, so we'll just move to that view while ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, I know.
MLB can beat rock.
It's so stupid.
And after this, we got to get to our prize picks because we're on Oppenheimer time.
Yep. So, all right.
And by the way, guys, as you wait, make sure you guys subscribe and like the video. Is he going Oppo here?
He is. It's, you know what's interesting? Is that I don't really see a massive difference between that and what he did in 2024, which almost kind of coincides with the fact that what they're doing in the minor leagues, I've signed off on. I think they're doing a nice job developing.
Mm-hmm.
Is the root cause of this potentially James Rowson?
Like I said before, I don't know if I should blame him because it's like, if I blame him, do I credit him for everything that's happened with Ben Rice? I think to some degree, yes, your hand is somewhat on the wheel. You're hired to have your hand on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a hitting coach, Jake, if I was the hitting coach, we might not be able to solve Austin Wells, but we'd know for damn sure he's at least going to look when he's standing in the box like he did when it was going well. And then it'll fail. But to just be able to look at film and be like, swing all looks the same from 2023 on, but he doesn't look, as the seasons get progressively worse, he also equally progressively gets less scary looking.
It's true. Like here, this is a guy that I thought was one of the best catchers in the league. Here, and we talked about the numbers last year are doable if he's doing them this year. But this, I just don't know why he made such drastic changes in his batting stance. And then this is, I think it's a better version of 2025, but he's missed the plot. He's completely gone away with what he had coming into the league. And this actually concerns me a little bit about Spencer Jones. Because if he's struggling now, and let's just call it like it is, he's still struggling.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't had a great come up. And we knew this, by the way. I mean, we talked about this. It was possible that he was, going to be a bit raw here and going to really need to have his hand held. But I just worry about this because I'm like, if this hitting coach is responsible for what he's done to Austin Wells, who, by the way, finished third place in Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, I'm very worried about Spencer Jones.
So you're basically saying you don't trust James Rowson to facilitate the best position pre-pitch because
no, I don't.
We have evidence to show that he can have a catcher standing there in a bad position pre-pitch for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of at-bats continuously and not decide we're going to change. It's a good point. It's definitely a good point. Yeah. And it the bad part about it is it puts you in a situation where you don't know how much to blame on the player itself or the actual coaching staff. But like I said before, if Rousman gets the blame for a player going up there standing like a buffoon and it's not working, he also gets the credit for how Ben Rice is standing.
But this is what I would say,
looks like.
Right?
What's that?
Ben Rice has a compact swing.
He does.
Doesn't have a long swing. This is why I'm concerned about Spencer Jones, because Austin Wells has a long swing. And as we've seen, he's never once really altered that. Not for the good, anyway. So are we looking at essentially a mirror image of what Spencer Jones can end up being with James Rowson as the hitting coach? And I think that's a fair question. And also, I don't want to just put it all on James Rowson because the dopes in the analytic department also have been talking about launch angle and how they want launch angle, right? And you can see, I mean, Austin Wells could very well have stuff like that where he's been told to, change his bat path and things like that. And it's just like, I don't believe this is how you develop hitters. And I'm not trying to give Austin Wells a get out of jail free card here because he's made his own bed, right? But at the same time, it's not just him as to why he's struggling. There's a lot here. And I don't believe Austin Wells is the worst hitter in the league because what I just saw in that video, I know he's struggled. But I think what we potentially could be looking at is a guy who in July and August of 2024 had finally put it all together. And then there was too many cooks in the kitchen trying to figure out his launch angle, trying to focus on more of the home runs and seeing like, oh, well, we had 20 home run pop on our, scouting report. What if we could get 30 out of him? And that's my issue with the direction that this game has gone with analytics. And it doesn't make me feel good that, this hitting coach, as we've brought up, was with the Twins when they set the home run record and how he had his mantra is essentially hitting home runs. Yep. So I don't like it. I'm flagging it for Spencer Jones. I hate to say it, but I think Austin Wells might be doomed. That's just that's my impression of this, to go from 2024 looking like this to then go to this in 1 year. That's just you're messing around too much, and I'm very concerned about what we could be looking at with Spencer Jones, because as Eddie brings up, Jake, good point, sometimes too much information is an overload. That's how I feel. Like I know how they view things because we hear about it and how they're all about the analytics. What if they're throwing too much at these guys at a time, and it's not necessarily in the best interest of them? It's just that, hey, we personally want more home runs. We don't care if your average sucks. We're okay with that. We want more home runs, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing with what they've done developing these guys.
Ironically, Jake, you hit more home runs when you have a more consistent means to get into the correct path. Hitting a home run just means you're on plane.
Yeah, it's Juan Soto. Juan Soto is not. I would not call Juan Soto a power hitter. I would not call Juan Soto a home run hunter. Right?
He's not.
He's not hunting for home runs, but he can hit them.
Yep. He might hit 40. He might hit 45 home runs, but his sole intention is to get hits. That's his approach. That's the same exact thing, full circle, what Vladdy Jr. is doing now. People think he sucks and he's struggling right now because he's not hitting home runs. He doesn't see it that way, I promise you. So Austin Wells just has a poor pre-pitch routine. It looks terrible. It is terrible. And they're very unlikely, given their long history of not fixing this batting stance. It's just going to continue on, and they're going to make it seem like it's just Wells and no, he sucks. They're going to bring in a veteran via trade, and he's going to come in with his own mental approach, and hopefully it works out a lot better. But you do feel bad into some level that they're not giving him all the tools to at least look this part and see if he can do the rest, because that's also his part. Yeah, it is Jason Giambi. It is insane. But Jake, let's get to Prize Picks, as we are 2 hours and 33 minutes into the show, and I cannot believe anyone's awake at this time.
Not only that, we have just under 300 people in here.
I don't know how. I don't know. I honestly, I always say that, but given the time, I'm genuinely shocked.
Yeah. So winner chicken dinner. If you followed us yesterday, Trey Savage knew he was going to have a lot of strikeouts against the Yanks. Cam Schlittler. This was easy money, by the way. We got Demons for 6.5 each. We had Springer and Okamoto striking out. Okamoto gave us 3 of them. And Cody Bellinger snuck that run in at the very end of this game to help us out. Spencer Jones did not play. Obviously, he played, but they gave us a mulligan there. So it ends up being $50 on the $10. So let's see if we can not do that, but add another one. Another win. How about that? I think we've won 2 of the last 3, so we're on a little bit of a roll here. dare I say.
Okay, so you're not feeling good about Rodon. You've already said this prior.
Not a fan. Braden Fisher, not really a fan here. But
he'll be opening.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that he's an opener. So while this seems juicy because the way Judge is hitting right now, he'd be in the 2-hole. Ben Rice, if he's leading off, he's been struggling in the leadoff spot.
I feel like I'm way up here. Look at me.
I wouldn't do it, Gary, because to be honest, I just don't really think he's going to pitch enough to get that. So anyway, I know it's small. Well, he only needs 2 strikeouts, and certainly possible, but I'll live knowing that I went away from this. All right, so let's look at hits, runs, RBIs. Well, actually, let's do our favorite here, or at least my favorite. Going back to the Okamoto well, this dude strikes out every game. I like him a lot.
Yep.
But we talked about how, home run hitters are trying to be more contact oriented. Well, Okamoto has kind of gone away from his contact that he's known for. Not going to do any Yankees, but I like Okamoto, and I like George Springer again. So
struggles against Rodon.
He does. He's awful against Rodon. It has a batting average under 200, so I like that. I'm gonna stick with those two. Who are you thinking tomorrow for the Yankees, Gary? Is there anybody that stands out to you
for some knocks?
Yeah.
I'm probably
maybe just do some hits. How about that? We'll just do hits.
You know who I'm actually picking to get a knock tomorrow? So I'm expecting, considering there's an opener, there's going to be a lot of situation where you're just, it's just going to be righty, lefty, righty, lefty. It's going to be an army day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out the pen. I think Anthony Volpe is going to give us a knock tomorrow against, conveniently, the left-handed pitcher out the pen. Give me Anthony Volpe.
I like it. I like the way Anthony Volpe's been playing. I know today maybe wasn't his best game, but
no,
I think he's still putting up a good fight. And it's hard, man. Rogers has a weird, funky delivery. Gotta, give him some grace there. Bellinger will be back in the hit column. I feel good about that. I actually think Judge is going to be back in the hit column too. He's been struggling lately, but I think he'll be back in the hit column.
Got to simplify things tomorrow for sure.
And then let's go with Ben Rice as well. I expect the Yankees to punch back, knowing that they don't have an absolute phenom on the mound. That can really kind of be mentally draining. So this is what we got.
So what you're telling me is high scoring. That's what you're saying tomorrow.
Potentially. Yeah, I think it's going to be I still think the Yankees lose because I think Rodon is going to not do well. We'll just say that.
Okay.
Okamoto, Springer with strikeouts, Volpe, Bellinger, Judge, and Rice with hits. And you can go for the flex play here to win 60. Let's win another one. So you can go use the promo code HMA, sign up with Prize Picks today. Link is in the description below. Play $5, get $50 instantly in lineups. It's available in 40 states. And we know Hawaii is not one of them, as we've talked about many times already. But yeah, Gary. Oh, we're still doing that. Okay. So
yeah, I'm very worried about Rodon. Very worried.
I don't feel good at all about Rodon until he gets his thing together. I don't know. I don't feel great about it. I'm fine being wrong. I don't need to be right. I don't need to predict it.
Jake just exploded. He's like, I don't need to be right. He explodes. I wonder if he's going to be back in here. Anyway, not sure what point he was making there. But guys, we're all worried about Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon is a non-strike thrower. He's facing a team that doesn't strike out. Oh, there he is. He's back in the building. Welcome in, Gary. What did you even do?
Worst Mac OS update ever. My whole computer just went I updated Mac OS and I told you it takes over my mouse and my keyboard randomly. And it just totally was just deuces. Yeah. But you know what?
I didn't even know where you were going with that point.
Do you see what it just did? It literally just made me Gary Sheffield Jr. and you, Jake.
Have you seen, you know what? That just reminded me. Have you seen the guy who goes, where's Jake Bell? They're like, No, Josh Bell. He goes, let me look up Josh Bell and see what he's up to. And he researches Josh Bell, and it was Black Josh Bell of the Pirates. And he goes, what happened to Josh? Dude, it was one of the funniest. It is honestly one of the funniest videos of all time. Obviously, cancel culture, they don't like it, but
there we go.
Whatever,
dude. It's got a mind of its own. I'm not happy about it. I told you.
Don't click any more buttons.
I know. Well, now it's like, how am I going to end the show? I'm worried it's just going to like start a new podcast. But anyway,
it probably might. But yeah, guys, so make sure you guys sign up with Prize Picks using code HMA. Yeah, we did all super chats. I did check.
Okay, cool. Yes. So yeah, in the comments section, put Film Room Unloaded, because that's basically what we just did. That for like 30 minutes. I think.
Yeah,
we'll
Jake. By the way, last thing I'll say: are you guys ready? Oh my God, Johnny says Gary's playing Jake new Disney movie. Yeah, they might. Yeah, by the way, are you ready, Jake, for people on Twitter? I mean, because obviously they don't take any of our ideas ever. I mean, who are we kidding? They're all going to be talking about, oh, Austin Wells, it's not his fault. Look at the film.
Dude.
It'll be pretty funny. But the good news
it will be funny. As long as it gets out there, I don't care.
Yeah, we want to get out there. Nobody will go watch their podcast anyway. But guys, we really appreciate the audience. We know it's a late show. You guys all need to go to bed. It's just, we hate to be your parents, but obviously subscribe to Yankees Unloaded. If you're new here, join the community. Hyping the video below does us a ton for new viewership and bringing a new angle of audience. And,
oh my God.
And more blood in here.
I tried.
Jake at this point with his new setup right now and the new update, he's basically Austin Wells offensively. He's a net negative with these clicks. Look at this. Yeah. This is so bad.
I'm trying to use it. Mac OS is going crazy
so
right
bad.
now.
It's not what you want.
Yeah, like the video.